They're being heard on every radio telescope on the entire
Did you think it was...
How you doing? Is my mic working? It better be. Oh my god, panic like hell. Don't panic. Let me get some sound in the background. I should have done this already, actually. I'll say hi to everyone in just a second. Let me get this working. Why is it doing that? Dumbass. Haha! If this gets too loud, just a little bit in the background, then tell me. Okay, can you hear the music in the background? If it's too loud, tell me, so we don't have this problem later on. If it's too quiet, then that's fine. So, Mike, Odinson, Volrath, Spirit, Reckless, Odinson, I already said hi to you. Jester, Brad, Rogers, Christina, Hells, Akuma, Wild, Beth, Hella, Talkin, DJ, Hukum, Argo, how do I say that? Angron, Crimson, Lethal, H.G. Wells, Waylander, Schnacks, MX Beta, Wiccan, Sattler, Perry, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Now, disclaimer. If you've read these already, shh. It's not important right now. What's important is I'm going to read them live. So if you already know stuff, leave it to yourself for now. We will get to it, obviously. But they are going to be read live in order, obviously from top to bottom. When it comes to the quest stuff, probably not going to go too much into that because there's obviously fixes and such that you can go into. That may not be relevant for everyone, but we'll glaze over those. Furniture stuff, I'm not going to go over in the patch notes because we can't see them, but we may see them in the PTS after the reading's done. Richard Barry, thank you very much. Oh my god. No crying aloud. It's not necessary. Thank you very much indeed. Hugely appreciate it, of course, bit and cake in the chat. Speaking of which, listen to this. You know I needed this after today. Right. Quick sound check. Is the music too loud in the background? If the response to that is I can't hear it, we can fix that. Try now. It's a beer. You don't hear the music. Can you hear it now? Finally got my Master's Axe today. Nice. How about now? No sound on ninjas either. We'll try that again then, shall we? How about that? Fixed. Much better. Good. Is it louder than my voice? Because if it's not, we're sorted. Let's get started then. Right. So, as most of you do know, we are getting a new chapter. It's called Greymoor. Part of the... it's really quiet. That's fine, as long as it's not too loud. It's part of the Dark Heart of Skyrim for the overall story for the year. We do have a new trial. We do have a complete rework for Vampire. There are going to be some base game adjustments. And lots of other shiny stuff. And there are also going to be lots of these from people that maybe don't agree with stuff, or maybe just for the sake of it, because that happens also. So hold back on the tears if you can. Venom got his axe and got a bow. Hell of a run. Nice. Congratulations. So, prior to this, by the way, I have tested this for around a week in its earlier state. So things have probably changed by then. By now, even. Can't do words already. So, I do have experience with it, but there's probably going to be some different stuff. Also, I did have a meeting with Zos today, alongside some of the stream team partners and class reps, so I can answer some more precise questions surrounding some of the stuff. So, I do know a lot already, but we are going to read them live, so don't panic. If anyone sits there in the chat and goes, what do you know? You don't know shit. You are literally talking to someone who does have direct knowledge of it, so relax, don't worry. We're going to see what happens. Right. So, new zone, obviously, we are going to Skyrim. Be excited. Where's the beer and cake in the chat? We're going to Skyrim. Come on. Or Dragonborn's in the chat. Throw some of these out. Where has it gone? Can't even find my own friggin' emotes. That one. Spam that. New collectibles, new achievements, new dyes and titles, new homes, new furnishing, no motifs, new crafted ingredients, new sets, new trial, vampire changes, performance updates. We know that's a big one as well. Imperial city updates. Ooh. Housing precision editing mode, new furnishing, new achievements, new motifs again. This is all base game stuff, and this is all the Greymoor stuff, obviously. So there is extra stuff coming. And then we've got lots of bug issues that are currently still, obviously, probably in PTS. So don't worry about those. When you are reporting your bugs, if you find any, by the way, just be very clear about them, what the issue is, how it happened, and don't sit there and go and fix your stupid game, because that's not going to help anybody. We've got some combat and base gameplay stuff to be updated, including item sets. Some of you may have seen on the forums already that there are some potential changes coming, so handy stuff, especially monster sets. Have you looked at any of the new house? Spirit, you're going to have to let me catch up to stuff like that. This is going to happen live, so you're going to have to be patient, but you will see. If loads of people say, what's next, we're never going to get there. Hi, ninjas. We're going to press that. How you doing? Right. So, there are templates on the PTS, by the way, so if you go on there now and go and check it out, you can make a brand new character and go through the tutorial, or you can click the little drop down on the left-hand side and make an 8-10 character and just go nuts. You've got loads of stuff in your bags. Try stuff out. We're not going to go over some of this, because this is going to be skimmed over. It's just general information. If you want the patch notes, by the way, and you don't want to listen to me, first of all, I have no idea why you're here. Secondly, put patch notes in the chat, and there's a link there for you. As our ninjas, Ricard, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Antiquities is a brand new system. I can't go over it too much in the PTS notes, of course, because it's not going to explain everything. There is a link for Greymoor, where there's a video where I've gone over it, but I'll show it later as well, obviously. Where you're going to actually be able to explore as a kind of adventurer. Thank you for the follow. To uncover and dig up relics. Some of which could be in your house, some of which you can wear. How are those food buffs? Shut up, entity. So this part here, the actual details behind it, I'm probably going to show you that rather than go too much into it, although it is in the video.
I love winning.
Tim, thank you very much. Hear from that lovely voice. Enjoy the Professor stream, by the way. Watch you on the replay. Thank you very much. I was a bit quiet on it there. I was trying to focus face. Mythic items are a thing. They are from Antiquities, and of course they are going to be individual one-piece items, which are very cool.
I love winnings. Drinks all around.
Beg, thank you very much. So we've got these, but they don't really say much about them. They just tell you what they are. So we're going to have to go through some of those when we get on to the PTS, I think. Unless they're further down, which they might be. But mythic items you're looking at is Bloodlord's Embrace, which is a heavy chest. Malakav's Band of Brutality, which is a ring and requires Orsinium. It's good that they say where they come from, because they're obviously... You can scry in lots of different locations. Ring of the Wild Hunt. Snow Treaders. Talk of Tonal Constancy, which is a neck. However the fuck you say that. Thracian Stranglers. Thracian Stranglers hands. Thank you for the host. Much appreciated. Ebon Wolf mount. So remember the Morrowind mount? Kind of looks like that, but there was like an Apex type one. That one was had a black sections of it as well as all the cogs and shit. This mount's split into 17 fragments, so you got lots of different things to scry for and find there. Then you've got new motifs, 3 new motifs as well, and loads of other cosmetic awesomeness. So we're going to go into some of that obviously later on. Wow, there's a lot of stuff. Thank you, King, for the host. What did I miss? Hi, Ninjas. Karate Kid, how you doing? New 12-player trial. We did get to test this. We didn't have a full group when we did it, but we did get to try it out. But that's probably changed a little bit by now because it was quite rough, even on normal. However, that was due to be altered scale-wise, whether it be easier or harder or whatever. So we'll go into that if we can do a pickup maybe later, if not tomorrow or the day after. New sets, obviously we're going to go over them, and here are the new sets for the update. So Overland, Winter's Respite, Light Armor, Recovery, Max Magic, and casting abilities that leave an area of effect on the ground will create a circle of healing frost for 10 seconds. You and your allies restore 2, 3, 5, 8 health every 1 second while inside the circle. This effect can happen once every 10 seconds. So basically applied exactly the same way as Oloraims, where you put a ground-based effect on the ground and you get a buff. This one, you put it on the ground, you get a heal. So technically they would stack, which is quite nice. So if you are a really avid Oloraims user, you could put the two together, who knows. Volra, thank you very much. Medium, crit, weapon damage. Dealing critical damage inflicts Hunter's Venom on your enemy for 2, 2, 4, 1 poison damage to your target and nearby enemies every 1 second. This effect can occur once every 15. So, that's not... Hang on. Dealing critical damage on Venom, blah, blah, blah. Target and nearby enemies every 1 second. This can occur once every 15. How long is it up for? It can happen once every 15 seconds. Every 1 second. Maybe it's... I don't know what that is. We'll have to check it. Heavy armor, magic recovery, stamina recovery, health recovery, max health. Adds 337 stamina and magic recovery while your health is above 50%. Okay. And adds 1011 health recovery while your health is 50% or less. So while you're high health, your resource recovery is stupid. Interesting. Charter Sifis, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Until they die. I think Gina missed the duration. Yeah, I think so. How you doing, Dr. Vic? Welcome to the stream. Get that man some beer and cake. He was giving me a hand the other day on some upcoming content. No spoilers.
Drinks all around.
Tom, thank you very much. So, I mean, I would imagine that's probably something like 10-ish seconds. Based on how most things are. Considering how much damage that does. If it's every 1 second in AoE, it's probably like a 10-second duration. Who knows? We'll see. How's it on stream? How you doing, Ozzy? Welcome to the stream. How the hell you fucking say that? Stuns favor? Crafting set. Weapon damage, spell damage. Physical pen, spell pen. Weapon damage, spell damage. Increases your physical and spell pen by 13,355 against off-balance enemies. Ooh. That's not very nice. So you dizzy and swing someone in PvP and then BAM! Fuck them up straight afterwards. That's a stupid pen bonus. That's really nice. Good evening, Zion Angels. How you doing, dude? Welcome to the stream. Dragon... Oh, you could even do that. Mike, where are you? Easy talk. Knock him off balance, yeah? PvP. Fucking hell. Dragon's Appetite. Weapon damage, stamina recovery. Increases your damage done to bleeding enemies by 225. Dealing non-bleed damage to bleeding enemies generates a persistent stack of Dragon's Appetite once per second. After 10 stacks, you consume it and heal. Okay. So, if you... It's damage done to bleeding enemies. You don't necessarily have to apply it. So if someone's got a bleed on them, and you have this set on, dealing damage to them up to 10 stacks will give you a heal. That's quite nice. Random slashes on your own, anything on anyone else. Definitely drooled over that one. Gotta know that. It's fucking nuts. Spell Parasite. You like the bleed set? Yeah, it's nuts, because it says, look, if you increases the damage done to bleeding enemies. It doesn't say you have to actually apply it. So that could be pretty mental. Spell damage, spell crit, magic, max magic, sorry. Whenever you deal damage, you restore 63 magic. This effect can happen once every 0.25 seconds. That is fucking mad. What does that work out? 126 every half a second? That's fucking mad. What does that work out your recovery as? Almost, well over 200, about 250 almost. If you've got loads of consistent damage. Woohoo! That's there's some other sets that will probably get close to that, but obviously then you can stack them. Say for example you've got loads and loads of dots running. It says when you deal damage, it doesn't say damage type. That's really high recovery. 0.25 seconds. We've got to be careful that the proc rates don't keep kicking in and give us loads of lag, but who knows. Very much like the off-balance penetration set. Yeah, it's fucking nuts. We're gonna have to try these out, you know. Trials. Now, again, some of these may have changed from what you've already seen because the stats were not supposed to be shown, but some people did noise. Curious why they added so much pen everywhere. Well, it's just fucking... Why not? It's a stat that isn't in a lot of different sets. Lots of people seem to plug it with other people's abilities and such. Maybe they don't want you to bring every single group having the same options. Maybe they want to give you more. Spell pen, minus Slayer at all times, increasing damage done to trials, dungeons, and arena monsters by 5%, which we know about. Spell damage, perfected gives you 1k max magic. Fair enough. Dealing damage with a fully charged heavy attack. Thank you very much for the bits, much appreciated. Dealing damage with a fully charged heavy attack to the enemy that's been set off balance grants you and up to 11 group members Major Slayer, increasing your damage done to trial and arena monsters by 15% for 10 seconds. Raw and Optimist can only affect a target every 22 seconds. Now, off balance is 7 seconds uptime anyway, and downtime is 15, which is perfect timing for the overall buff stroke immunity. So during those phases, every single time off balance is up and then off and then cool down and back on again, this can fire. So it's not far off, if you're careful. It's not far off 50% uptime on Major Slayer for your entire group for doing a heavy attack, doing off balance. We've got 2 builds that are focused on off balance, by the way, that do utilize heavy attacks in off balance. So you can now buff your entire friggin' group. I didn't say it was going on it because it's not out yet, but you never know. Brain just... Happy patch note day. Jack, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Continue going off balance heaviest on mag resets for Greymoor. Well, one of them wasn't a mag set, Sifis. That was either way. It was magic and stamina, so not necessarily. Let's read lovely patch notes myself this week. Yeah, definitely reading myself. Stam DPS, magic... sorry, not magic. Weapon damage, minus Slayer, stam recovery, pen... instead of stamina on the perfected piece, on the 5-piece perfected bonus, which is quite nice, because usually you expect that to be stamina or something like that. Dealing critical damage grants you a stack of Giant's Endurance up to 1 a second. Each stack of Giant's Endurance adds 100 stam recovery, up to 5 stacks. Dealing damage with a fully charged heavy attack removes Giant's Endurance and grants you Giant's Might for 10 seconds, increasing your weapon damage by 158 per stack removed, so 5 times. You cannot have Giant's Endurance and Might active at the same time. So you build up the stacks and have the recovery. Or you heavy attack and the amount of stacks you built up gives you increased weapon damage for 10 seconds. So basically you hit and hit and hit over 5 seconds, big heavy attack, 10 seconds worth of weapon damage, hit and hit and hit, big heavy attack, loads of weapon damage. So that would work on a situation where you have multiple light attacks inside your rotation, then a big heavy, multiple light attacks, big heavy, and constantly doing that as long as you can keep it up. It's actually not too bad. Gives you lots and lots of flat as opposed to Reliquin, which is more proc-based stacks, although the two would work together. So not too bad. Very, what's the word for it? Advanced set, should we say, for a player. So you have to pay attention to what that actual 5-piece does rather than just hitting. Interesting. Stam Trial set looks interesting. Yeah, it's pretty good. Over 50 weapon damage. Thank you very much for being a calculator. I can figure that out. It's nuts, yes. Even Zion Ninjas, how you doing? How's welcome to the stream. Kind's Wind, a healing set, or designed for healing. Mag Recovery, Minor Aegis for protection, obviously. Healing Done for healing done. Mag Recovery on the Perfected, that's interesting as well, because we're used to the flat Magicka bonus, or flat Stamina, whereas both of these are literally physical pen and recovery. Casting an ability or drinking a potion, one or the other, that applies a major buff on yourself or an ally. Creates a pool of kind's blessing for 4 seconds. You and allies standing in it will restore 508 stamina and magicka every 1 second. This can happen every 10. So you get a couple K stamina and magicka back for everyone once every 10 seconds in total. I mean, there's not much to it either. I mean, if you're a warden and you cast a resistance buff, that would pretty much do it. Mind you, it's a major though, so you don't cast majors necessarily as often as you do a minor. But it's still pretty good. That we'll have to mess with. We'll have to mess with them all anyway. Excuse me. Tank and set, max stamina, minor Aegis, max health, heal and taken. Again, instead of a max health bonus, it's actually a health return bonus when you heal or get heal. After dealing damage with a fully charged heavy attack, apply major Aegis to you and up to 5 nearby group members for 10 seconds, reducing damage taken in a dungeon, trial, and arena enemies by 15%. This can occur once every 28 seconds. So that's a very short... Well, it's not a short duration. I mean, 10 seconds is quite long, but you're restricted to 5 people, and you're going to have an 18-second downtime. So that's not quite as effective defensively as this one is offensively. So they may want to revisit that because the timers are completely off. I mean, this is strong as fuck, but it only affects 5 people. If you're going to have such a high downtime, that should affect your group overall. 5 people is a really weird fucking number because your groups are 4 to 12, unless you're doing PvP, which this is designed for PvE anyway. So that's stupid. So I think this one, on the surface, I mean, we'll test it, sure, but on the surface, I think this is only really benefiting things that are close by. Whereas this is everyone. If you're going to give a big bonus with a 50% uptime almost for 11 members, yet a decent bonus for only half your group for a fraction of the time, that doesn't make a lot of sense. These are counters. They're supposed to be the opposites of each other, and that 5 people is a bit poo. I would hope that they put that for the whole 11. Even if they knock this down to like 7 or 8 seconds, make it for the whole group. Although, we'll see. We're managing resources. What happened? Hard to time it right? Yeah, it would be hard to time it right. I think the two need to balance out towards each other. If they're going to be polar opposites, they should reflect that. 6 people, you and the other 5, the rest of the group is sitting there going, where's my buff? Unless the idea of that is to have more than one person using it and stagger them. Because obviously during the off-balance uptime for this, you have to consider that other people can't apply it. Whereas this is any situation whenever you are heavy attacking, so they may encourage you to use it by 2 people and then try and bounce them off each other. That might be the intention for that, but we'll see. Bloodlord's Embrace. Mythic items. Here we go. So, dealing damage with a bash attack. Now, we know how much you love bashing, because lots of people have been using that in their rotations recently as an offensive ability rather than defensive, which is interesting. We deal damage with a bash attack that places a persistent, uncleansable blood curse on the enemy. So you can't purify it. You can only have 1 blood cursed enemy at a time. And dealing additional bash damage moves the blood curse. Blocking an attack from blood cursed enemies restores 685 magicka to you. This can happen once every 1 second. Fuck. So if you're a tank using this and you go bash, while it's on that target, you constantly get magic back. When you bash something else, it comes off of that onto something else. That's fucking nuts. That's stronger than our whole food choice. And would stack. These are dirty because they're going to delete some of your 5-piece bonuses. You're going to be literally using like 3 or 4 pieces of a set to try and wiggle some of these in. And quite rightly so, because that is massive. Love tank like this. Yeah, well, this is also something to consider as well. Because if you do have this as a bonus, say, on a magicka DPS, and you bash something, and the marker's on it, that's also nuts. There's going to be lots of different applications for this. PvP, I think that's going to be fucking AIDS. That's really nuts. I like it. There goes magic tanks. No, it doesn't. It doesn't go away. For all DDs that actually know how to bash. Yeah, there is that. See, that's also going to encourage you to pay attention to mechanics or keep up certain things. So, the next one, Light Hands. Patch note to see, indeed. Viking, how you doing? Killing an enemy grants you a persistent stack of Slode's Call. Up to a maximum of 20 stacks. Each stack increases your spell damage by 150, but also increases the damage taken by 2%. Removing... how the fuck do you say this? Thracian Stranglers. Crouch or go invisible removes all stacks. So removing it, crouching, or going invisible dumps the whole thing. So you can turn it off, essentially, by just ducking. But the more you stack, the more damage you pump out, but the more damage you take. 20 stacks. So you could end up taking an extra 40% extra damage, but you deal a shit ton. That, again, is a very active set and could potentially be game breaking. That's fucking strong. You gotta be careful, though. You'd have to block constantly to get the magic back, though. Yeah, but as a tank, you do. It's quite nice. Or tanks that have high mag recovery that actually, in fact, the Mortal Warrior. Yeah, exactly. Right. Need to bash, you haven't got that skill. I know, right? That happened before. Let's see. Snow Treader's medium feet. You are immune to snares and immobilizations that can be cleansed. Well, in combat, you cannot sprint. So your fast running is gone, but stuff that... sorry, that can be cleansed. But stuff that can be cleansed will basically just not work on you. Fair enough. I mean, that's a free immobilization immunity, but not sprinting in combat might be a little bit tricky for some people. That could be a bit awkward. So you can't run fast, but you can not be stopped running. We'll see how that pans out. I'm sure it's got a situation where it'll be beneficial, but we'll see. Ring of the Wild Hunt increases your movement speed by 15% while in combat. Increases your movement speed by 45% while out of combat. So you can run away really fast while fighting people, while not fighting and lugging it and getting away. And as soon as you are out of combat, you get even quicker and go really, really fast. Law book set. You'll learn bashing quickly in Ice Reach. Yeah, you will. Be good with low health vampire. Be good with lots of stuff. But he's really intriguing. Some of them pretty cool, actually. You can run when not fighting, though. Yes, I know. I just read it. No, I read that one wrong. Already done that one. Increases the damage done by 25%. You cannot deal crit damage. This is fucking dirty. So, that's Major Berserk forever, which stacks with Major Berserk. Now, while that sounds stupid, just consider the fact that in PvE, crit might be quite relevant. PvP, it's quite nice to crit if you're healing, but if you crit against someone who's packing impen, they're resisting your high crit damage that you would be doing and you're not doing it. One of the weakest areas in PvP is flat resistance, unless you're really, really tanky. Most people just, like I said, pack impen. So if you are increasing the amount of flat you do, you're bypassing those traits and just going straight through them. This is fucking mad, and this is the reason why people die to proc sets. They don't buffer enough flat resistances to cover the gap. This could be quite nasty. Again, there's other changes to that shit, so we'll have to see later. Mr. Teacup, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Gingerbread ring. While your stamina is less than 50%, it increases your mag recovery by 450. While your magicka is below 50%, it increases your stam recovery by 450. Just balance one to the other. Switch, switch, switch. That could have some application, not mad at that. I mean, that's... Imagine on a tank again, if you were blocking and you were under 50%, your mag resources are quite high. Your stam recovery would be no good if you're blocking, if you're under 50% mag, but then again, maybe using ice stuff. That has very unusual places. Probably, again, more PvP. But on mixed builds, might be quite good. I think I'm farming new sets. I might dare to theory craft myself, though. I'm sure something will come up to make me lazy. I wouldn't worry. We've got weeks left of this. There's going to be changes. Pets. Here we go. In this update, we've added several new collectibles. So there's some new pets, new mementos, new costumes, new hats. We can't see these, so there's no point us reading them, really. There's new skin from the trial, which you can probably see in the appearance section on the PTS. Some more outfits, new achievements, new dies and titles. Fucking loads of titles. Look at those. 3 new homes, which we can't really see right now, so maybe we'll see them later. New furnishings as well, which again, we will have to check out visually. Wait, stop. Thank you very much. Confused Lita's whining. Should we press it for you, Stark? Is that better? Thank you very much for the sub. Hugely appreciated, of course. Beer and cake in the chat. Thank you very much. Thanks for the assist earlier. Never knew you could smash the outro. You're welcome, dude. Hero, thank you very much. Stark, this is not looking too bad at the minute. The mythic items are quite cool. Although I kind of want more of them. I don't feel like there's enough at the moment. But with it being a new thing, I don't doubt they'll be adding more. New alchemy stuff. So there's 3 new ones, which we, again, will check later. Enchanting. Added a new rune. I can say that. I've seen that already. No spoilers. We'll check later. Vampire updates. Excellent. Right. You can still hear me, right? The music's not too loud. How would you get mythic items? From antiquities. We're getting there, don't worry. Actually, if you put Greymoor in the chat, there's a video there explaining it. Lethal. Sneak. Oh my god. Thank you very, very much indeed. Hugely appreciated. Beer and cake in the chat. Yes. You know the rules, people. The fight starts again from scratch. If you kill that Dragonborn, you will take our place in stream. I'll have to kill you instead. Thank you very, very much. Bounce with excitement. Stark as well excited. Of course he is. If you put Greymoor in the chat, you'll see a video there. About a 10-minute video. 13 actually, because there's a trailer on the end. Where I briefly go over my testing of Greymoor before this actual update of it goes on PTS. So there's going to be some changes between there and now. But if you're confused about any of that stuff, that is all in there. The antiquity stuff is kind of briefly explained and demonstrated. But again, you have to wait until we get onto live for more of that. Or on PTS for more of that even. Vampires received significant changes this update with focus on improving the entire experience as a vampire and not just the combat abilities. Revisions to part of the vampire quest, justice system ramifications, and even improved feeding visuals are just some examples of this. These changes enforce the fantasy of being a vampire throughout the game world while also making it feel much more up to date with the modern game. Now, as most of you may know, Bob and Weaven, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. You're late, a little bit. We'll carry on talking when it's finished. Now, most of you may know, obviously, for the last fuck knows how long, Vampire has been something that most people use for passives. That's pretty much it. Just passives. Mag recovery, stam recovery, and undeath. Which is nice. Unless, of course, you're in PvP, which you probably use Mistform, or PvE if you're a tank, or you're trying to mitigate certain effects. But, essentially, most of the time, it's passives. Now, there is a build on my channel, which will be getting updated with Greymoor, yes. Originally called The Vampire, because it was based on trying to be as active as a vampire as possible. And that was about as far as you could go. Now the idea is to have the entire skill line so that you can actually play the role of a vampire rather than just being one passively. So there are going to be some substantial changes to some of it. And what I saw of it looked really, really good. But obviously not all of that is going to be here. Maybe they've drastically changed it. But so far it looked pretty good. On the content side, the vampire quest has been updated to better teach you how to embrace your new vampire abilities, while the initial vampirism, infection, and introduction parts of the quest are unchanged. The tutorial aspects of the quest have been improved dramatically, with the final part of the quest teaching you how to use some of the most important vampire abilities. Encounters with vampire hunters are also something you may stumble upon in Tamriel, so be wary. These NPCs will respond to any vampire that come across in extreme prejudice. So, with extreme prejudice, rather. So you got hunters and shit. The justice system is now fully integrated into the vampire experience as well. Your most overt vampire actions and abilities, thank you for the follow, are clearly denoted as criminal acts. So you're getting shit for doing vamp stuff in front of guards, or anyone that can basically bat phone the guards with magic. You will find these abilities behave similar to necromancer crimes. Casting these around townsfolk and witnesses will expose you as a horrific vampire and cause you to become kill on sight. While at stage 4, most merchants and tradesmen will recognize your heavily corrupt appearance and will refuse to deal with you, though you may be able to trick them if you are clever enough. True vampire sorcerer at long last, I shall make him the most evil to roam Tamriel. Already got one, Charles Siphus. He's just getting an update. And this actual patch will boost the fuck out of it. Either way. The visuals for feeding as a vampire have also been updated significantly. Feeding now uses a paired animation sequence similar to Blade of Woe to better showcase the sinister brutality of vampire bite. If you saw that in the video, it didn't have any blood and all that kind of shit, but you saw him kind of jump on the back of the shoulders and chew on his neck. That's kind of where they're going with it. It looks more violent, so it's pretty good. Feeding now also increases your vampire stage instead of decreasing it. So if you feed, your stage goes up rather than before where you fed and your stage went down. As you feed, you become more corrupted by the influence of vampirism, losing touch with your humanity while empowering your vampire abilities. So the more you feed, the stronger you get. If you want to fully embrace the power of the vampirism, you must feed regularly to maintain it. Can't you turn that off though? What, the animations? If you want. I wouldn't. My personal vendor and banker better not refuse to trade with me. You're going to have to buy repair kits and go out with your resources intact rather than coming back and speaking to them. While in combat, while combat abilities are only a small part of the vampire rework, special care was given to create a suite of abilities that work synergistically. I can't even say it. Synergistically with each other and round the vampire kit. Blood magic, hit and run aggressiveness, stealth and elusiveness are primary gameplay concepts that define the combat experience. Being a vampire represents a much more active choice instead of a passive one, which is basically what I explained a moment ago. With active abilities that have very direct effects and passive abilities that key off of many of your core mechanics like sneak or sprint. It's up to you to decide if the improved powers of vampirism, thank you very much for the bits, are worth paying a terrible price for, as these powers come with larger penalties. Vampirism is a gift and a curse after all. So, the stronger you are as a vampire, the more susceptible you are to other shit. So, good and bad. Definition of the word balance, I guess. Now, all vampire abilities and persistent effects have new icons. Updated visual effects becoming infected with the fucking vampirism infection. So you do kind of have different effects. Now, the best way I can describe that at the moment, unless it's completely changed, because I might have done, is on the video that I made on Greymoor. I did a kind of spin around of my character with loads of different skins and loads of different costumes on him, and you could see an effect over top of it. You actually have a splattered blood effect over your character if you've been munching on people. So someone can just walk up and go, you got some shit on your shirt, and they know that you're a vampire, even if you cover your face up with a helmet, which is quite cool. Refunded all skill points from vampire abilities, so you get those back. You don't have to scream about spending money on skill ups, because you can just re-skill, because they're going all back to 0 even. All vampires have been set to stage 1, so you'll have to feed if you want to be stage 4. You don't just have it by default. Vampire stages have been significantly refactored. Feeding now increases your vampire stage instead of decreasing it. Paul, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Vampire stages last 4 hours, whereas they used to last 6. When a vampire stage expires, it decreases your vampire stage. Vampire stages do not lose duration while you are logged out. Very clear. Each vampire stage grants bonuses that decrease the cost of your vampire abilities. So the higher your stage... Paul, thank you very much. A bit. Thank you very much indeed, Bit and Cake in the chat. Each vampire stage grants a bonus that decreases the cost of your vamp abilities and causes certain vampire passives to activate. So the higher your stage, the cheaper those skills and other passives come into play. However, and they did keep this, which is good, each vampire stage grants penalties that decreases your health recovery and increases your damage taken from fire, and increases the cost of your non-vampire abilities. So, if you want to be stage 4, you better be using your vampire abilities because they're cheap as hell. But the more normal abilities you use, weapon or class, the more expensive it is. So this will give you some incentive to work as a vampire overall if you want to go full stage 4 and start using all those shiny skills. Maybe in the middle and use a mixture of them, or be very careful when you start using class and weapon abilities if you're stage 4, because your cost is going to be... So, good for bad. Benefit to negative, or positive to negative, for being vampire across the board, rather than just, oh, if you stand in fire. Because before it was working, but it was a bit dull. Heist is up. Nice. Thank you very much. Get stuck in, people. Don't lose today. Don't lose. Feed now plays a unique cutscene. I just spat at the camera. How good is that? Animation when you feed an unsuspecting victim, similar to Blade of Wire. Did I read this bit already? No, I didn't. Some vampire abilities have been designated criminal act and will trigger a kill on sight amount of bounty when you cast near townsfolk and witnesses. Most merchants in the game will refuse to deal with you at stage 4 unless you convince them otherwise. Maybe they have incorporated the persuasion passive for that. I didn't check. Priests of Arcade have moved to more prominent city throughout Tamriel and are more readily available to those who wish to be cured from vampire. Drain Essence. This ability has been removed from the game and replaced with Eviscerate. All experience earned in Drain Essence has been transferred to Eviscerate. Bloody hell, there's loads in the highs. Nice. Mistform. This ability has been moved to the 5th skill.
I love winnings. Drinks
Grand, thank
all
you very
around.
much. Remember, we used to have 2 skills. Now we've got 5. All experience earned in Mistform has been preserved. So you still have it, basically. This ability is now a toggle ability. Draining your magic every second while it is toggled on. And it still requires you to channel it while it's toggled on. So you cannot use other abilities. Basically, if you block, bar swap, anything like that, or try to use any skills, it will turn off. Pretty much like it does now. But at the moment, it lasts 4 seconds if you just leave it. Now, if you just leave it, it stays on. Which is quite nice, because before it had quite a hefty cost. Whereas now, it's kind of, if you have it on for a second, you lose a brief bit of magicka. If you have it on for 10 seconds, you lose a shit ton. Elusive Mist Morph 1. This morph remains unchanged and grants you major expedition while in the form. Blood Mist. Please be the same as the one I tested. It is. Good. This morph deals damage to enemies around you while in mist form and heals you for the damage caused. Now remember, in mist form, you can't be healed by external sources or anything like that. This has a heal attached to the skill, which is a bit nuts. Oh my god, you won! Rad, Gooey, Bob, Brad, Pete, Timber. Is it Timber? Timberzak, yeah, and Talkin, congratulations. Bit of cake in the chat, you managed to escape the Vivek Vault with some loot. The rest of you got wrecked, however. Bat Swarm. This ability has been removed from the game and replaced with Blood Scion. All experience earned by Bat Swarm has been transferred. So you still have XP towards the ultimate. Rat's too late? No, you're not. Eviscerate is a new skill. This new skill is a direct melee attack that deals more damage based on your own missing health. This is still fairly similar to when we tested it. Now, Morph 1 costs health, so you spam it and it costs health. And to use, it costs health to use it even, and increases the damage bonus based on your own missing health. So you use health to hit with, so it doesn't cost you any resources other than that, but the lower your health goes, the harder you hit. But remember, obviously, you're taking away. So the lower you go, the more risky it is to hit with it, because you are actually draining your own health to do so. Morph 2 will always be a critical strike if you use it while under half health. So you want to fuck with your resources on this skill. You want to kind of juggle your health, yet be careful, because although it hits hard for that risk, you could still potentially kill yourself. You won't kill yourself with a cost because it'll stop before you actually run out. But if you're really, really low, you might actually just get whacked. So that's a bit nuts. I mean, technically you could use this as a spammable and then use this to build back up again, but where is it gone? Mist form. I'll show you some of that stuff because those haven't changed, so I've already have experience with that, so don't worry. Scal, thank you very much. Got ASRA of his address, but it's open now, just saying. Yeah, I know. Rich, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Bit of cake in the chat for the dude with getting all the tears. OC patch notes. Yeah, indeed. We're already halfway through the vampire stuff. We've gone through Mythic. We've gone through some of the new Trial and Overland stuff. Now we're getting to some of these. So pull up a freaking chair. Increases. Where are we? Blood Frenzy. The new skill is a permanent buff that can be toggled on or off outside of global cooldown. While it is toggled on, you gain a massive bonus to weapon and spell damage, but your health is drained every second and cannot be healed by others. Now, this hopefully hasn't been changed because I did test the fuck out of this and I'm going to demonstrate it as well, but this is a really nice skill. Excuse me. This increases the weapon and spell damage bonus, but also increases the health cost the longer it remains toggled. So you get a higher offensive stat, but you drain more. Then, the other one is when it is toggled off, you heal for a proportion of the health you spent while it was toggled on. So if you have it on for 20 seconds and you go to a situation where you've lost maybe 30k health over the period, you turn it off, big heal. Kind of like the opposite of Rally, where Rally would give you heals every second and stack up a big pot and then you take it. This one damage you every second, and then once you've took enough and you've had enough, you turn it off and you take a heal from it. So that's a bit friggin' nuts, and yeah, they work together. This new, what we got here? Vampiric Drain. This was nuts, by the way. I'm not going to tell you the stats because that may be different on the actual server itself, but that did go quite high. Some of you have already seen it because people were naughty, but That's a really, really good boost to your damage if you can survive with your own survivability. Some of you have already seen the light bulb go off and know which classes that works really well with and which skills, but don't worry, we'll get to that on the PTS later and I'll show you. Vampiric Drain. This new skill is a short channel beam ability which now deals low damage to an enemy but heals you for a significant amount of your missing health over time. Drain Morph 1 restores a proportion of your missing stamina over the channel. Morph 2 generates ultimate. So we've still got the ulti-gen version, but we've got a different variation of the magical one because it gives you stamina back, which is a bit nuts. Mesmerize is a new skill. This new skill is a crowd control ability that affects all enemies in a cone in front of you, stunning them if they are facing your direction. So if they're coming at you, you scare them. Affects all enemies around you instead of enemies in front of you, so you've got more area, I guess. And the other one is enemies are snared after the stun ends. Honestly, this one would probably be more beneficial in my own brain rather than having a snare afterwards, but whatever. It depends on your situation. Blood Sign is the ultimate. The new ultimate is a transformation skill that turns you into a horrific vampire monster. Transforming instantly heals you to full health, so like the Dragon Knight passive where you get all your health, stamina, magic back, you get health back straight away. While transformed, you have increased health, stamina, and magic. You heal for a percentage of all damage caused, and you see enemies through walls. You read that correctly. Look. And you can see enemies through fucking walls. That's quite shiny. Especially in PvP. Someone's trying to rock hop and they think they're clever sneaking around. And you can see the bastards anyway. Bat swarms around you as the first morph. While you're transformed, dealing damage to enemies that come close. So that's quite nice. Wall hacks, exactly. And the other morph is you ascend into Vampire Stage 5. Which, while you're transformed, grants you all benefits of Stage 4 with no drawbacks. Now remember, Stage 4 was reduction to vampire cost and increase to skill cost. Well, that's a drawback. No drawbacks while using this ultimate. That is fucking mad. This one is actually really, really nice when I tested it for the damage output, for the bats just around you the whole time. But this was really, really nice in an oh shit, I'm just going to go hell for leather moment. So that's quite cool. Actually, the majority of these so far, apart from maybe their base stats when you go onto the PTS, haven't actually changed since we tested it in their overall feel and application to them. So I can definitely demonstrate that in a bit. Savage Feeding, this ability has been removed from the game and replaced with Feed. Supernatural Recovery has been removed and replaced with Dark Stalker. Blood Ritual has been moved to the 4th passive in the skill line. Undeaf. This ability has moved to the 5th passive, but now reduces your damage taken by up to 15 to 30%. So the second upgrade of it is 30%, based on each percentage of your missing health. Now remember before, it used to give you up to a 33% reduction based on your missing health while under 50%. So the lower your health, the less damage you take. This is still the lower your health, the less damage you take, but the mitigation bonus starts kicking in earlier. So instead of being 50% and then you get it, you have it all the time and you just collectively over time take less and less and less and less. Now, as far as mitigation is concerned, I mean, technically over time, as far as that's been put in, you won't really see that much of a difference in the passive overall. But it does apply from the beginning rather than halfway through. So it's not too bad. That's pretty cool. This ability has been removed from the game, replaced with Undeaf, so Unnatural Resistance has obviously been moved. Dark Stalker, this ability is now moved to the 2nd passive. Thank you for the follow. Now decreases the time to enter crouch by 25 to 50% at all times, not just at night time. So it used to be just when it was dark, now it's all the time. Continues to allow you to remove movement speed from sneak. So there was a penalty for sneaking. Vampires don't have it. They don't slow down. They run normal speed. Can you hard target see through walls in PvP?
I love winning.
You can.
Drinks all around.
But Deep Syndicate, that is all enemies. Thank you for the follow. If you read it very carefully or listen to how I'm explaining it, maybe I'm explaining it wrong, but I know how it works. I've seen it. When you activate that ultimate, instead of just hard targeting someone and seeing one person run around, you see everyone. You can literally spin your camera and see all people behind walls, including NPCs as well, if they are enemies. Where do we get to? Feed. This new skill is now the first passive skill, automatically allocated for free upon obtaining the vampire skill. This allows you to feed on enemies and describes the bonus and penalties of the vampire stages. So that's where you get all those from. Strike from the Shadows. This new skill is a third passive and grants you a short bonus to your weapon and spell damage after leaving Sneak, Invisible, or Mistform. So basically, if you cracked Invisibility right now as a Nightblade, then went, surprise, I've got extra spell damage. You go Mistform and come out, you got extra spell damage and weapon damage. Anything like that, Sneak, Invisible, or Mistform, you will just pop out and hit harder. Unnatural Movement. Please tell me it's the same. Yes, it is. This was demonstrated in the Greymoor video that I uploaded to YouTube. So if you put Greymoor in the chat, you can see it active. This is a rather shiny bonus. Reduces the cost of sprint and causes you to become invisible after continuously sprinting for a short period of time. So I showed this in a video. I cracked a guard and I sprinted. And then I went, poof, disappeared. Just like in the trailer video, you know, where that vampire looks at Lyris and the big mob of people and goes, ha ha ha, I'm running away, and he just legs it and vanishes. You can do that. It's nuts. Now, the invisibility stops if you stop sprinting. If you continue to sprint, you keep invisible. That's probably going to be demonstrated again, but it's in the video. Performance improvements, server optimization, and stability. Now, we knew there was going to be an update for performance, and here it is basically. Non-combat pets and their behaviors have been rewritten to put less strain on the server, so it now works better and more efficiency and takes up less resources. This reduces the likelihood of server issues such as slow responses and players being kicked. So for those memes on the channel in the past, pets won't give you 10k less DPS. That's obviously what that says. The rewritten behavior is intended to match how non-combat pets previously worked, but there may be some very slight differences. This could include pets being more responsive to player movement and following more closely, or small changes to animation. That vanished sprint is not on a mount, correct? Correct. PvPers are going to take Nightblade gankers to a whole new level. Yeah, they are.
Drinks all around.
Remember, you get a lot of negative for being a vampire as well. Blazing, thank you very much. The difference is, Archangel, as a Nightblade, you can use it as an active skill and just press it and hide, press it and press it and press it, and have infinite sustain and be invisible forever. You want to be invisible forever as a vampire, you've got to sprint. It's not something you can stand still and do. Unless you're a Nightblade vampire, which is interesting. We all know Zai only rocks a Mega Chicken and 50% health increase. Exactly, Crimson, exactly. The character loading process is now multi-threaded on the server to improve performance. Now, I did ask this in the meeting today with Zos to be clear about how this would affect, because obviously people are like, well, what about console? Both types of gameplay. So PC and console, because this is server performance. Whenever, got to reiterate the words, whenever you see this server performance, that's their end. If it's our end, it's client. So be very clear about that. These changes will allow the server to more efficiently prepare and load character data so to not adversely affect other server operations. So you might see less morph suits. Non-combat pets changing more fixed performance. more DPS. No more 10k DPS reductions, remember? Client optimization and stability. This is different. See, this is client. This is, where's it gone? We've lost it already. Server, and there was another bit about server here. Run, Barry, run. Indeed. The fixture creation process on the client is now multi-threaded. This allows the client to utilize multiple cores when constructing and drawing art assets on screen, improving overall performance. So better rendering and all that good stuff. Optimize how characters are drawn on client, spread and work out over multiple cores to improve overall performance again. Further improved performance in situations with lots of effects, particles, projectiles, weather, etc. happening simultaneously. So when you've got lots of shit going on, also basically trials or dungeons or whatever, this is due to help with that. And also, of course, in Cyrodiil as well, when you've got an abundance of shit firing off, that will help. I have wind. Made numerous small optimizations to reduce memory usage by the client, use more performant functions, and remove unnecessary function calls. Unnecessary, so not unnecessarily. Unnecessary, get your words out. So there are some things that we can't physically see as far as gameplay is concerned, but they will affect the performance of what we play in the back. So shit in the background that you can't see, fixing stuff that you can see. Plorna, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. So that's exciting. We'll be looking forward to some of that, especially on console as well. The Imperial City repeatable daily quests available at the top of the ladders leading out to the Alliance base underwent significant changes for this update, with the primary goal of making them more friendly for multiplayer, easier to get involved in, and brought up to more modern ESO standards. Note this does not make them get in places, fighting monsters, or returning to your base any easier, so it's still going to be the same place. Imperial City is just as deadly as it used to be in that regard, so watch your step, bring your buddy or 12, and be ready to repel an enemy players. Or 12? Bring 24. You know, die and resurrect back to the base, you do you. Now, we've got... Do we have to go through these? Are these individual quests? I can't see the rewards for them. You've basically got, by the looks of it, different dailies, which you used to have kind of bland ones that have been there since the first DLC, and now they are being updated and reworked to some extent. Sewer Patrol and mini-bosses are now properly tagged as such for the drops of future event rewards, when and if applicable. So the Imperial City events, Mid-Year Mayhem, that kind of stuff. Hi Zion Ninjas, how you doing, Whiskey? Welcome to the stream. It is a reading, yeah, indeed. Didn't even remember IC had daily district quests. Yeah, they do. No one really does them. I mean, that's a stupid, naive thing to say. Maybe they do. Most people I know don't do them because they've done them once and then they just go, that's shit. But hopefully that'll add some stuff. Fun with friends, but yeah. What the fuck? District-based patrolling bosses and sewer bosses, treasure scamps now respawn more quickly during associated events.
Drinks all
Dram,
around.
thank you very much. This is actually quite helpful because during the events, there's an abundance of people there. The bosses get flattened in about 3 seconds, and you sit there waiting and waiting and waiting for the bosses to respawn. It's boring as fuck. So with them adding kind of increased spawn, decreased spawn times, that will actually make it a lot more active. Still need to hunt them down and kill them before the enemy players do. Then kill those enemies because it is Imperial City and anything goes. Sure. So the idea of it stays the same, but they appear faster. Which is good because that fucking Trove Scamp and Treasure Scamp achievements are stupid. Not in a bad way. They're just... I mean, everyone wants it, but they are quite long at the moment, so that might help. You killed a Jeff? Let me press the button. Just a Jeff? Really? Dare I dare. I was expecting a Mega Jeff today. Well done, people. Congratulations. Didn't even realize the fight was up. Arteum dailies, Arena dailies, Memorial dailies, Noble dailies, Temple dailies. You get the idea. There's one for all the different districts. I'm not going to go into those too much. You can read those in your own time because that's more questy stuff and maybe it'll apply to some people and not others. But if you put this, patch notes, in the chat, you can read them very clearly for yourself. I won't be showing visual awards, rewards either.
Drinks all around.
Either. Words are bad today. Because we can't see them in text. Thank you for the follow. But obviously when we get on PTS, if we can see any of those, we'll obviously show them. Hausen Precision Editing. What is this? Having trouble getting to placement of your furniture is just right. We've all been there, but with the new Precision Editing mode, it's easier than ever to make it all line up perfectly. To use the new mode, simply point out the previous placed furniture in the housing editor and select Precision Edit. Unlike with normal selection, you are free to move the camera and character in this mode without adjusting the position of the furniture. It only moves when you tell it to, so you can check the placement from a new, different angle without needing to pick up and place the furniture every time. So that's like when you put up a fucking chandelier and you think it's lined up with that little pinpointed dot in the texture and you're like, ah, that looks nice. And then you get around it and it's stuck in a window somewhere. Well, now that's not going to happen because you can be more precise, basically. How's it feel? Different now? Yeah, it does. Lucifer, thank you very much. Judy, appreciate your beer and cake in the chat. Thank you very much indeed. 500,000 damage done to our current Dragonborn. Don't forget, of course, if you do kill the Dragonborn, you'll take its place in the stream. I have to kill you instead. Thank you very much. Oh my god, best change ever. That's actually going to help because everyone has done that. Everyone's put a chair down somewhere and gone, oh, that looks nice. And you've gone round it and it's in the fucking air. Why is it in the air? I put it on the floor. And then you put it back where you really want it this time. And now it's a bit on the squiff. And then you go round it and look at it from behind and like, that doesn't look right either. And you're just fucking around for ages trying to get it just right. Well, that's going to help with that. New furnishings, we do have them obviously, but we can't see them in the patch notes. So we'll look at those on the PTS. New achievements for vampires and werewolves. New motifs. Again, we can't see those right now, but we will look at them. Updated character selection screen. The character selection screen has been updated to reflect the snowy environment of Greymoor. Ooh. At the moment, I'm desperate while furnishing. This gives me hope. Good. Definitely a great change. Oh, yes. For this PTS period, there are 2 available templates for you to utilize. 1 max level character and 1 mid-level character, both of which will place you near Solitude Way Shrine. Below are a list of notable changes or additions to the templates that aid you during your journey. New alchemy ingredients, new motifs, new mythic items for testing, new items in a container for overland and trial sets. The trial sets come with both perfected and non-perfected. Added perfected... I knew this was coming anyway, didn't we? Added perfected master and maelstrom weapons to the ability altering weapons bag. So if you haven't seen them yet and you want to see if they're any good, and we haven't got to that bit yet, log on and you can go and play with them. Added a bag containing siege weapons into consumable container. This has sub-containers for each alliance and contains all the siege weapons for that alliance, including the new antiquity siege weapon. Ooh, fight's finished, by the way. You missed it. Haven't been on ESO for a while. Been studying Resi 3 and make a ridiculous amount of notes. Noise. There's a lot of notes today. There's like 50 pages or so. Added vampire and werewolf maxer items to grant the associated skill line. Scrying and excavation skills have full XP but no passives assigned. So remember, the PTS is a test server. The Real, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. So the reason they've done that is obviously to give you a blank canvas to start with, so you can test out the scrying and excavating, and then if you want to, you can then implement passives one at a time, bit by bit by bit, and just make sure they're working properly. So yes, of course it'd be easier to just give them maxed, but that's new, so we have to test it and make sure they are all working as intended. A box of leads can be found in the top inventory item, so that's where you need to go for those. Unlock the memento received from the trial, so you can see that, and added an AVA potions to the potion container. Alchemist, however the fuck you say that. Known issues, so this is the section that you need to pay attention to if you are reporting bugs. If you are finding any of these, you don't necessarily have to report those ones because they already know, but if you find different ones, make sure that you do. Remember, for people that want stuff changed, when it comes to these types of cycles, it is then your responsibility, if you want that power, to start reporting things that you don't like or that you find broken and state why. Remember, there is a bug report thing in there, or there's a forum. Asylum Sanctorium. St. Owen's Gust of Steam ability is now correctly indicate the next intended landing spot. Good, because that's a little bit... monsters move the nameplate from imperfected to more relevant locations. Fireball can now be cast while the firepot spider is moving. Okay. Dark Brotherhood. Shard Shield can no longer be reflected by the bodyguard. Sweet Roll Killer, you can no longer talk to Raz and Naru at the farm if you are not in the quest. Dragonhold, update the Dragon Guard Style Master achievement. I'll be happy for people with motifs. Won't go into quests and stuff because they are... Some of you might go, what the fuck is that? There's a fix there. If you do quests, check that out. Now, combat and gameplay. This is for the elsewhere improvement, so fixes towards the Necromancer. This is Tether abilities such as Restoring Tether and Shocking Siphon are now once again on the global cooldown and have had their targeting improved furthermore. Bone Tyrant, Bone Goliath. The heal from this ability and its morphs will no longer trigger from Mend Wounds or its morphs, and states it requires dealing damage to proc, because that ability was you activating a light or a heavy, which kind of counted as doing damage, but it wasn't doing damage, so that was not working right. And now this is more clear. Fixed an issue where this ability and its morphs would end abruptly if they ranked up while it was active. Grave Grasp, fixed an issue where casting this ability in rapid succession would cause the final area of effect to fail to spawn. Hopefully the ultimates that disappear into the ground are also fixed, because that is annoying. Paintings can be found in treasure chests. Nice. How you doing? Welcome to the stream. Harrowstorm, fixed an issue which could prevent you from getting credit for the unchecked empowerment achievement. So I suppose if you've already got it, it's tough shit. This has been complained about. They do know. Imperial City Prison, the brace for impact synergy should once again apply correctly when activated to protect you against full damage. Imperial City Prison is busted at the moment. Sometimes that synergy doesn't fucking work at all. So at the moment you've got two choices. Pray or nuke it and make that never happen. But it's due a fix, so don't worry. White Gold Tower, the sign of Ruff's Algrid downport ability will no longer display Enerous effect icons. Flesh Colossus Raw now correctly increases the damage of the Flesh Colossus basic attacks. Pretty much. in a nutshell.
I love
Fixes.
winnings. Drinks all around.
Heath, thank you very much. Elite, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Also, don't hesitate to let them know when you like out the update. Really mess their heads up. Excuse me. Morrowind, Overland stuff, I think. Iron Ash and Arc Blast Furnace no longer displays the interrupt tutorial. Delve and Group Boss dailies available in Vivek City no longer require you to complete the quest Divine Conundrum and the associated quest to the daily quest givers. Ashan dailies are unchanged as they have greater fictional justification for their gating. Fair enough. Website link, thank you very much. I'm losing my voice. More beer. Merkmeyer corrected some missing treasure tags for a large amount of stolen items. Excuse me. I can never say that dude's name. Again, these are fixes for quests. If you're doing the main story or you're doing some of the exploring stuff, there are some bugs that have been fixed. Put a glaze over some of these.
Drinks all around.
Most of NPCs. Thank you for the follow. Some of these are mad. Fix an issue where Blazing Tar would not fully cover the caster's weapon. Smaller stuff that gets looked at. It's pretty good. Again, more minor fixes. We're not going to go into those. Quest zones. Anything in Merkmire that you're having any issues with, check this section here because hopefully, lucky for you, things are fixed. Anything there that it could be an issue, generally, I haven't probably seen because I did that a long time ago and didn't really look at it. So I did the quest and got out. If you are new to these quests and you're having issues with them, then your issues may be resolved here. Excuse me. Orsinium, Maelstrom Arena. The Maelstrom power-up synergies are now prioritized over the Venom Grenade synergy and the Spectral Explosion synergy. If you don't know what that means, round 6, when you kill the Horvers, you have a synergy where they die if you don't stand next to a totem when they blow up, and you can pick it up and throw it. Well, you could have that land next to a synergy effect, which will give you a power-up. You might want that power-up, but the synergy's landing on top of it. And while you're trying to press it to get that power-up, you can't because you picked up another fucking synergy. Well, now it's going to prioritize the buff over the damage ability. The same goes for Spectral Explosion. So, you're no longer going to get stuck in stuff when you want to take advantage of a... What's the word for it? A beneficial bonus rather than something that is just active in the fight. That is going to make a bit more sense to other abilities in the game, hopefully further on. If not, I can talk about what I heard today. Shadows of the Hist, Cradle of Shit, quest pins for the quest step, kill Dranos Velador. Now matches between the Silk and Shadow pledge quests. So that was working but just didn't visually look right in the text. Attack from Veladref can now be correctly blocked if your character has the appropriate amount of stamina. Ruins of Maziton, a monstrous blitz attack from Zalnir, can once again be interrupted by any player that stands in the path of the charge and blocks the attack. So, that is in the dungeon guide video. Put ROM in the chat, please. Recently, you'll notice that if Zalnir charges at you, you'll try to bash him or block him and he'll just run fucking through you. That's not intended. That is a bug. In the video, you'll see that I actually bash and stop him from running. That's going to be fixed. So that will still continue as it was in that video. Somerset. Mike, thank you for the links. Shade of Reliquin, a direct covenant attack can now be correctly blocked if your character has the appropriate amount of stamina remaining. Good, because it's annoying. I'm gonna just notice that the drops. Fingers crossed. Yeah. Shift and Shadows attack that originates from the gateway can now be correctly blocked if your character has the appropriate amount of stamina. So there's some abilities that just weren't being blocked, even if you had the stamina to do it. To go along with the updates to synergize priority, the Shed Hoarfrost synergy is now prioritized above other synergies inside of the Cloud Rest, including Gateway, Welconer Light, and Wind of the Welconer and Malevolent Core. So, before, you might be trying to get rid of the Hoarfrost, but you've got the Gate synergy, you've got a Heal synergy, you've got Damage synergy, and they're all stacking on top of each other, and you can't get to the bastards. So you're spamming synergy, bang, 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 and you can't get rid of that fucking Frost. That is now a priority. It is a key mechanic. You do have to be in control of it, so that one now goes to the top of the list as far as the synergies is concerned, so you can actually control it. Again, that was following the Maelstrom synergy stuff. That is something that is going to be continued throughout the patch notes, I believe, so there's more on that. Does anyone else read ROM or Ruins of Marzipan? Yes, it's been a thing for quite a while. Don't need that one. Well, you can... Pearl Research Notes Log 3 to now accessible even after completing the quest associated with it. Excellent. That's stuff that may or may not be something that people have or haven't seen. Kind of a newish one. Griffins no longer cause beam effects that are targeted at them and behave erratically. Skin spider critters no longer make the same amount of noise as their giant brethren. So, well, they were roaring like a real giant spider. There's a few monster abilities throughout Somerset that have all been altered because they've been a bit buggy or not quite where they should be. So they've been fixed. And we've got some for Wolf Hunter as well, actually. There's a lot of fixes. Moonhunter Keep. Surging Gale attack from Vicosa can now be correctly blocked if your character has the appropriate amount of stamina remaining. See, there's a lot of issues here where people said that block wasn't working. It appears that it just didn't calculate that you had resources to block it. So there's a lot of mechanics here so far that have been fixed in order to make sure that it knows you have enough to block with. So whereas before people were just assuming that the block was not working, it's more of it doesn't know you've got the resources to do it. Weird way to look at it, but that seems to be the case. I've been making that joke for years. Yeah, Ruins of Marzipan. Decimator removed NRS effect icons from Blade Dance ability. The Dwarven Centurion's barrage ability will no longer cause collateral damage to other monsters. Okay. This is the good stuff. Are you ready? Get ready for the wow button. Synergies. This is where I was leading up to. Gilliam did speak about this today in the meeting, so he did explain clearly where this was going to go, but obviously we're going to read this as well. Got wrecked by her even if I block, so glad they fixed it. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, but now you've got an excuse. You can go, hey, it's not working. Once it gets fixed, you got to think up something else. Synergies now have a hierarchy to determine which synergy appears first when multiple are present to you. Remember yesterday I was showing you some of the latency issues on a couple of servers where synergies weren't necessarily being taken properly. Sometimes they were being all jumpy. This is more in tune with how you should be able to take them, even though they should be there present anyway. Now, this is going to be actually quite helpful. Quest, dungeon, and arena and trial-related synergies now always appear on the player source synergies, above the player source synergies. So any mechanics, anything that defends you, anything that, so like Hoarfrost, synergies to buff you, anything like that is a mechanic will come first. So that's pretty clear. That also applies to stuff like Hellraiser Citadel, you know, the hard mode where you get turned to stone and if you break free, you kill everyone. Instead of you seeing a spear and going, oh, I'll take that, and then it jumps and then it blows you up because you pressed the wrong one, that will always prioritize the mechanic. So that one will be first. So you can't fail it. You see it, don't fucking press it. If you don't see it, you're good. Dungeon Arena, I've read that bit already. Furthermore, for player source synergies, the following rule sets apply. Now, again, at the moment, you're probably seeing Conduit, Nova, Blood Funnel, Bone Shield, Impale, and it's all fucked up. You don't know which order everything is going to be in. But this is the order they're going to be in from now on. Healing and shield-related synergies will take the utmost priority. Because in an emergency, the first thing you're going to want to do is protect yourself. When was the last time you hit 1% health and went, oh, I really want a Nova right now? You might want the buff, but I mean the synergy. Instead, you want a heal synergy or a fucking damage shield. So heal has been put top, along with the shields. Utility, buff, and debuff synergies. So anything that helps boost whatever situation you're in. And then the last priority is just damage. So if there's anything that buffs or debuffs in terms of a synergy, that comes second. Damage is last, and heal and shield is first. So if all these people saying, oh, I can't take a fucking bone shield, no excuses now. It's at the top of the list. Take it. If you want that damage one, take the top one. So this does two things. One, it cleans up combat so that your survivability is up because you're taking heals and shields first. Secondly, it allows you to actually take the synergies that most people avoid because they're sitting there going, I'm not taking that. I'm not taking it. I want Conduit. I want that. Well, now you have to take the ones that are in the way and start taking all fucking synergies. In situations where Purify, Conduit, and Combustion are all available to activate and are given to you, Purify is healing, which will appear first. Combustion is utility, so it gives you resources back, which will be taken second. And Conduit, which is damage, will be taken last. So a bubble or a spear will always be taken over top of anything that does damage. A heal will always be taken over resource. Nobody ever takes my bone shield anyway. They bloody should, and they will have to now, because otherwise they can't get to the ones underneath it. It's like taking the lid off, so you can't get to the cakes unless you take the lid off the box. Fix an issue where Thorn abilities, such as Spiked Armor or Fuse of the Harbinger, were not being considered as direct damage. Fix an issue where partially charged heavy attacks or medium attacks were not considered direct damage. Update and optimize the logic of many of the player passives to reduce load on the server. No, this doesn't change the functionality or balance of the passives, just how the server handles them. That may sound a little bit weird, but there's some instances, for example, where a passive may be active all the time, or a passive may be active only when you apply something. So if it's like you get this for doing this, it goes, use that passive now, use that passive now, use that passive now. The server's constantly pulling it through. Other times it might be there all the time. Every time it jumps to try and do something different, it adds load. So they've optimized that in the background to make more things make sense. That's a really backwards way to explain it, really, but it's as layman's as I can get it without going into too many different functionalities or different skills. It's just to clean up stuff. Updated numerous proc conditions, and logic preventing the server from attempting to pass logic in situations where it will not succeed anyway. So this is looking at a monster set and going, did you proc it? No. Did you proc it? No. Oh, we got one. It will only call for it if it works. So that saves a lot of issues as well. Fix numerous issues where some gap closer abilities, such as a cursed charge, could not be used while immobilized. Pet basic attacks can no longer remove players from stealth or invisibility. Only special area of effect attacks that require special activation, such as blast bone or ultimates, will remove stealth. In some instances, they may still attack stealth targets if the target gained stealth in the time they began to cast their attack, and will not remove it. So they'll still take a swing, but they'll miss. One of my favorite die, Sad Panda. Pet summoning abilities now have preventative window after completing their cast that prevents attempt to summon them again while they're already alive. So you can't summon the same pet twice, which you shouldn't be able to do anyway. Pets now properly inherit their parents. Bonuses related to armor, such as concentration or prodigy. Fix an issue where pets could fail to summon if you immediately began sprinting after casting. Fix an issue where sprinting while in the middle of a cast or channel time could cause failure to obtain all speed bonuses. That's poo. So you could just look at the tank and synergize the bone shield. Yeah, pretty much. That'd be very welcome change. Pretty good. If two synergies are on top of each other, the prioritization order comes into play. So it's not a case of just looking for the ones you want. It's now heals and shields will help you first, buffs and bonuses after, damage last. So if you've got three synergies on top of each other, one's a heal, one's a buff, and one's a damage, you have to take now 3 synergies to get to the bottom one, rather than just completely ignoring them and waiting for the top ones to run out. Take them. Read that one already. Fix an issue where you can still mount up after block cancelling and summoning cast time. Fixed issues related to bar swapping while not having a weapon equipped on one of your bars. Fix numerous issues where the audio for consuming and quick slotting item would play while you are unable to activate them. Everybody's seen that. What they mean is everyone's heard that click from a potion being taken, but the potion didn't take. That's one of many different issues, but that is being fixed. Reduce the damage of Bastion by 80%. Ooh, hello. Glyph of Bastion. These enchantments now increase the damage of your bash attacks by up to 500 per 160 gold quality enchantment, rather than increasing the weapon and spell damage of bash attacks by 348. Deadly Bash, 100 shield. This passive now increases the damage of your bash attacks by up to 1500, rather than increasing the weapon and spell damage by 250 to 500. So the actual raw attack is increased, rather than your overall weapon and spell damage of the attack. Here we go. The above... What did I miss? We're saying, imagine if Bone Shield Synergy was changed to Range Synergy, so you didn't have to run into the tank or caster to get the group shielded. Well, the thing is, it's about where you place the person that's using it. Some fights you can get away with it, some fights you can't. You might have to put it on somebody else. Change the bash weave and dummy cheese poo. Ha! Well, it's just one of those things, isn't it? The above changes were made to reduce the impact of bash weaving in a normal damage dealer's rotation, because it's supposed to have utility, isn't it? It's an interrupt. It's a stop doing this, I have a skill for free, let's do it. It's not supposed to be there for overall DPS output. So they've addressed it. Now, which was creating a huge rift between those who did and did not engage with the mechanic. So the point of it being strong is to give you a filler when you interrupt something. It's not meant to be there as a constant spammable. So that's why. And this is going to explain that as well, actually. Bash is meant to be a primary focus of interrupting of mechanics. Now, it's someone the other day, you don't know what you're talking about, bro. Well, why am I able to fucking predict what's about to be said? Know your mechanics first. Sometimes things are done for the purpose of balance and shit just happens. Sometimes it's fun that something's broken in your favor, but inevitably, obviously, you will have to expect these things to eventually be fixed. So if you find something really broken that's OP as fuck, don't tell no one. I'm joking. Make sure you report it. As well as help increase the control proc conditions of item sets, passives, and other events, rather than dealing damage. We've decided to retain the ability to deal damage with bashes, however, and even increase their overall effectiveness if specifically built for it. So you can build for a bash setup, but you don't just get it for free. The flat damage modifiers result in a slight decrease for standard bash builds, but more moderate increase for super specialized bash builds, such as pummeling Goliath builds that go all into enchantments, passives, and item sets, while not going too far like the builds were at its launch. So it's now a specification choice. Instead of you spamming it inside your rotations and getting free damage out of something you wouldn't usually use in that situation because there's no interrupt to go for, now it will still do damage, but pay attention to the mechanics. However, if you want to go for a bash build, they're encouraging you to go for it, and there's tools you can use to do it. Increase the healing reduction from Battle Spirit from 60% up from 50%. This, I honestly don't think is going to make that much of a difference. I'm pleased that they are reducing the amount of healing you can do, but I don't think that's enough. I've seen people in PvP with 50k health go from 0 to fucking full repeatedly. If they can go from 0 to full repeatedly, that extra 10% isn't going to make that much of a difference. I still think it needs some reworking, but I'm glad that they're addressing some of the major issues of how easy it is to stay alive for some people depending on what they're using. But step in the right direction. Let's see how it works. Eventually, I mean, we're going to have to get onto PCS and test it, so I can't really comment on it yet, but on paper, that looks like something might need a little bit more of a boost to it. Maybe 65, 70, who knows. That depends on the builds as well. I mean, some people can really fucking heal. It's nuts. Some of them can heal more in PvP than they can in PvE, which is backwards, because you're supposed to be debuffed, basically. Buffs and debuffs. Update multiple abilities and item sets that grant the caster permanent, major, or minor buffs to make them work more consistently with other temporary sources of major and minor buffs. This will help reduce situations where permanent sources of major or minor would clash with one another and cancel their effects. It will also help situations where item sets that require major or minor buffs or debuffs apply their proc more appropriately. I need to take a breath. Breathing in beer. Dragon Knight. Ardent Flame. So, Fiery Grip, Empowering Chains. This ability now only grants 1 stack of Empower instead of 2. Now, that's an unusual skill. It's very cool, but I don't see many people admit that they use it. So what they were doing basically is having the chain that pulls you to them, and then you get 2 Empower procs. Now it's just going to give you 1, which is now more of a use it, smack them, use it, smack them. Very much like the burn DK rotation, except instead of pulling them to you, you pull yourself to them. Which is, it makes more sense to be honest, especially if you're going to utilize it a lot. But I don't think too many are going to be mad about the 1 Empower, because if you're going to use another light attack to benefit from the Empower stack that you've already got, you're probably going to use a skill in between. And if you're using this to pull yourself to them, you're probably going to use this again to chase them. So that doesn't really look like it's going to make a massive amount of difference. Does it mean that abilities that apply major fracture and major breach are set with either debuffs will have stack penetration increase? No, not necessarily. The major and major don't stack, minor and minor don't stack. Major and minor do. Nightblade's Siphoning Strikes fixed an issue where these abilities and its morphs could proc off mending wounds. And its morphs, the Soul Steel power of this ability is now reserved for damaging light and heavies. Soul Shred, the synergy granted from this ultimate, and its morphs will now work for allies who are 10 meters or closer to the target rather than 10 meters or further.
I love
Close range application. Thank you for the follow. Dark Magic, Rune Prison, defensive rune. Fix an issue where this ability's stun could ignore line of sight or range. Good, because you should be able to see who you're hitting rather than cheesy broken stuff. Doesn't look like there's a lot of class stuff changes actually. Stormcalling Overload fixed numerous visual issues with this ultimate and its morphs, such as causing your weapons to appear hidden longer than intended. That could cause some lag issues as well because you get stuck. Or some cases where the effects could get stuck on your character. Fuck me, there's no point in me reading. I might as well just talk. Casting any other abilities while this ultimate or its morphs are toggled on while try again. Its morphs are toggled on will now cause this ultimate to untoggle. Energy Overload. Fix an issue where the magical restore from this morph would fire even if your light or heavy attacks fail to do damage. So you could fire a light attack, someone could dodge it, and if it doesn't hit them, you still get resources back. That's a bug, and it's fixed. Sunfire, Reflective Light. Fix an issue where this ability could not be used against neutral targets that are related to justice activities. So if you want to kill civilians, now you can. Doing fine, Zai. Getting there. Rite of Passage. Fix an issue where this ability could not be block cancelled after beginning it, despite its morphs being able to. Animal Companions, Feral Guardian. Fix an issue where this summon could not be interrupted. Yeah, because you can stop people casting pets. That one you couldn't. Savage Beast. Fix an issue where this passive could proc off casting Feral Guardian or its morphs. Scorch. Fix an issue where the damage from this ability and its morphs could fail to be recognized as direct damage in some instances. That's your Shulks, which is direct, and it was buggy. Restoration Staff. Who's that? Base Caliboy, thank you very much. Oh yes. Bit of cake in the chat. Fuck me, he's Dragonborn as well. Nice.
Dragonborn.
Oh yeah.
I love winning.
You know the rules.
Drinks
People the
all
fight starts
around.
again from scratch. If you kill that Dragonborn, you'll take its place to stream. I have to kill you instead. Thank you very much. Mitchell, thank you for the follow. Heavy attack. Updated the heavy attack for this weapon to operate more closely to lightning staves. It will now have 2 minor ticks of damage and then a final larger hit of the damage at the end rather than 3 continuous ticks. This will fix numerous issues where sets or passives could fail to recognize the fully charged state of the weapon. How you doing, Mr. T? Welcome to the stream. Vampire, Mist Form. Fix numerous issues relating to persistent visuals disappearing when using this ability as morphs. Werewolf. You wanted some updates on Werewolf. You've got some. A little bit. Now, the Werewolf experience has received many minor updates in its toolkit, focusing on enhancing its existing gameplay based on aggressive and fast-paced playstyles even, as well as introducing more aspects related to the pack leader fantasy where you can lead your armies in and enfeeble your foes. So, basically the whole pack.
I love winning. Drinks
Thank you
all
for the follow.
around.
Call of the Pack. This passive now works with direwolves summoned from the pack leader. Hersine's Bounty. Now this is an interesting one, by the way. Went over this in a meeting briefly. Casting this ability while at full health. You know the heal?
I love winning.
Thank you for the
Drinks
follow.
all around.
Now restores stamina. While this ability or its morphs are slotted, you passively gain major brutality. So you've constantly got 20% increased weapon damage for having it on your bar. Which makes sense. You should just constantly have stupid high feral stuff. Now, casting this ability at full health now grants you major berserk for 6 seconds, but also causes you to take damage. Fucking hell. Major berserk. Activated on a fucking werewolf. Ow! 25% increase to damage. Hello! Then the other morph, this ability now increases your health and stamina recovery by a small percentage of the healing caused with a cap, as well as continuing to increase the base of your healing ability. So this one is more healy. This one gives you major berserk. Now, you do take additional damage for having this active, but you're probably using the berserker werewolf if you're going to take this morph anyway, so you are probably based on being a glass cannon. So that's nuts. Drac, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Oh man, this is a bit mad. Pissing Howl. This ability in its morphs now deal 10% more damage to enemies who are facing you. Howl of Agony. Decrease the damage bonus of this morph up to 25%, down from 33. But it now also works on enemies who are facing you, so it's not just when they're running away. Pounce. This ability now becomes Carnage for 5 seconds after casting it, which allows you to quickly rend your target, causing them to bleed for 10 seconds with an aggressive execute scaling bonus. So like poison injection. The longer it's on, the more damage it does. Carnage now overrides to Brutal Carnage, converting it to a conal attack. Each time an enemy is hit by Brutal Carnage, you gain extra weapon damage up to 6 times. Thought you said Pissing Howl? I did. Why not? Feral Pounce, however, dealing damage with the initial hit, or the override Feral Carnage, grants stamina in addition to extending the time you stay in Werewolf. Ooh. So every time you hit people, you get more stand back. Whereas the other one, you get more weapon damage. So you've got resource tweaks here. One will give you more health recovery and the other will give you major berserk. This one will give you more weapon damage and the other one will give you recovery. You've got some options as far as the morphs are concerned, which play towards a more aggressive playstyle or a more consistent active playstyle with your recovery. So you can go full out burst or have a little bit of time to spare. Raw, this ability now also causes the enemy to come off balance for 7 seconds. That is dirty. While slotted, the ability and its morphs now passively grant you major savagery. Fuck my life. No more weapon pots for werewolves. None. None at all. You don't need major brutality because it's on your friggin' bar. And you don't need major savagery because it's on your friggin' bar. That's nice. Deafening Roar. This morph now also applies minor maim to enemies for its duration. So they hit you for less. And this morph now increases your heavy attack speed by 33%. Fuck. That's it's a little nuts. I mean, the werewolves are doing untoward things to everyone already. Well, let me get to the transformation first, then I'll go further into that. The morph for the transformation no longer causes your direwolves to apply minor maim to enemies. When they deal damage. Instead, while you are transformed, you gain 10% damage mitigation, and you passively grant. Oh. Right, before I continue that sentence, there is one way to get minor courage in the game. And that is Yonakrin. If you taunt, you get minor courage for your group. This here, read this carefully. Pack leader. Instead of minor maim for your wolves. While you are transformed, you gain 10% damage mitigation, so you're tanky as hell. And you passively grant you and 12 other nearby allies minor courage. You could bring a werewolf to a trial and have the buff all the time without even using that set, which is fun. But in an actual pack of werewolves in PvP, you also have the buff all the time for your group. That's dirty. Not werewolf tank Gaius. You are so far off. Dear oh dear. He never thinks before he speaks. How you doing, Gaius? That is actually pretty mad. So, big damage bonuses, constant brutality and savagery, increase minor courage as well to the group if you choose that morph. That's actually quite nice. Now, to go back on what we had today with a meeting with Zos, Gilliam and also Wheeler as well were mentioning about the werewolf and how it is one of those things that you can get in and just smash stuff because you've only got 5 abilities. But also it feels like a much more condensed or lesser playstyle, if you like, because you only have 5 abilities. You don't have the double bars. However, the way that you can choose these morphs now and the way that they affect you passively makes it feel a little bit more diverse in the way that you can choose to have more recovery, more damage. You passively get bonuses that you don't have to slot other skills for. You don't have to always stick to one potion choice because you would be using weapon pots all the time. Now you don't have to. You can just use tripods or whatever. You've got a lot more options now when it comes to choosing or slotting the actual morphs themselves rather than just, hey, I'm a wolf, I'll slap stuff. You can still do that, but the way they've addressed it and the way that they've changed some of the skills, there's a lot more ways to construct your werewolf, if you like. And with these different bonuses as well, that also might open up room for different sets, because there are people using major berserk sets, which you won't need. There's people using minor or major brutality stuff. There's all sorts of different things that are out there, and now that might open up some other options. Wealth changes sound pretty powerful. Yeah, they do. It's pretty good. Fighters Guild. Silver Bolt, Silver Shards, fix an issue where you could not use this ability against neutral targets. Excuse me. Imbue Weapon, Crushing Weapon. This morph heal now ranks up by 1% value of the damage done per rank rather than 1.1 healing done. Mend Wounds. Fix an issue where the heavy attacks could fail to chain properly after using this ability. Fix an issue where you could still get magicka back from a heavy attacking a target with this ability without actually healing them. DK Werewolf for the win. Well, the thing is, Major Berserk and Major Savagery all the time. Try pots. Or you can use immovability pots without sacrificing the major savagery or brutality. Because before you used to have to spam your heal ability to keep the buff up. Now you don't need to. And if you do use it, you get other bonuses instead. Undo. Fix an issue where the animation of this ability and its morphs would appear and end abruptly, making your character appear to do jazz hands erratically if not moved from with the rewind. Drops finally back up. It feels like I've been waiting forever. They should be. Blood Altar, fixed an issue where the synergy visuals causing it to fail to appear in some allies as well as being able to appear to enemies. How do you know the enemy's getting the Blood Altar synergy? Fair enough. Support, barrier, increase the cost of this ultimate to 250 up from 200 to ensure it meets the standards with other ultimates that apply to 12 targets. Bear in mind, although that may on paper look really annoying, 50 isn't that much. It's 250 same as a Warhorn. And the benefit from that skill is pretty fucking high. So you've got two complete opposites of each other. You've got the Warhorn, which is buff all your damage output and heal output and all that good shit, because you've flat stat bonuses. Or you've got Barrier, which is the opposite, which protects. So that, unfortunately, is balanced in a nutshell. But I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference, because once you've got all your cost reduction and everything like that, you can still get it closer to 200. You get it to 213 quite easily. It's a fair change. I mean, people shouldn't be too mad at that. Even Nova's not far off of this kind of stuff as well, and that's a completely different bonus, but they do stack. Did I say hi to everyone already? No more threatening jazz hands, I know, right? I use both balance and barrier. They are an amazing combo. Yeah, they are. Fix an issue where this ability could apply to non-grouped targets. Good, because there's nothing worse than trying to put that on and then all the guards get happy with your buffs. Forgot the items were below the skill changes. Forget I said anything. Oh, I will. Don't worry. Champion system. Shadow. Shadow Strike fixed a movement issue involved in this passive. That is one that I've gone over in the champion points video. Not many people actually use it. That I've seen anyway. I could be wrong. There could be thousands and thousands of people using it. They just never tell anyone. But that, as far as I've seen, isn't used that much. So for those of you that do use it, happy days. Physical weapons expert. The passive now properly works with unarmed, light, and heavy attacks. Who's been speccing into fucking light and heavy attacks with fists? Own up. Who is it? Because otherwise they wouldn't have found this. Or are they testing fist fights so that we can have it later for a monk? Consumables. We're not going to go into those because that's updating. Item sets. Wait a minute. I mean unarmed monk. It was you guys. I knew it. You want a kung fu build? Right. Bear with me one moment. I'm going to get a beer. Then we're going to go over those changes. Words are hard when the room is hot and your mouth is dry, so we need beer to fix it. You driven him to drink, Gaius? You're not wrong. Fishing for the win? I know. Right, here we go. Many item sets following the section have received numerous bug fixes or performance-related enhancements to make them less taxing on the server to track. While making these changes, we have continued our standardization to any of the affected sets to ensure their bonuses meet our intended goals. Note the words intended goals. That means they have something that they want to do. With our set bonus efficiency budget. For example, many sets related to heavy attacks had their scripting updated to be less taxing to track for the server. So during this pass, we made sure we brought them up to speed with other sets' standards. You can expect to see this trend continue every major update until we complete this pass with item sets. Note, they didn't say which ones are coming, but they did say that other stuff's going to be updated. So, Gallenway. This set and its perfected version, this is fucking dirty. And should have done this in the first place. Now granting power to 11 allies rather than only 11. So, for those of you that were probably using Gallenway before, although I got a little bit of telling off by some people, like, you can't use that as shit. It's not shit. It's been a bit buffed. So, the almost Immortal Warrior variation of it, where it used to buff 3 people's light attacks, now buffs 11. So all of you doing fast-paced light attack rotations, now you all get in power as long as someone's using it. Now, this set no longer has a 50% proc chance, however, but instead has a 2-second cooldown up from 1. So it's permanent, but it's every 2 seconds. This could have been 10 blocks in a row and it doesn't fucking fire. It's guaranteed to fire, but it's got a little bit of a cooldown between them. So that's actually quite nuts. Gaming Psycho Kitty, thank you very much indeed for the host. Hugely appreciated. Beer and cake in the chat, thank you very much. First of all, how was your stream? Secondly, welcome. Thirdly, get a shout out in there, please. Just another cloudless set to lord over other trials. Cloudless? No. It's amazing. I think you mean cloud. Do you mean cloud rest? This has been here for over like 2 years now. It's just been updated. Brian said, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. People were quiet because they got rid of it. Well, they got rid of it because they were stupid. It's been on the Almost Immortal Warrior since Somerset came out as a choice. And if you dumped it, it's your own fault. You gotta go in there now and go get it. Fixed an issue where the radius of this bonus was not large as the tooltip indicated. So it's got a proper one now. Ace Kitten, thank you very much. Amber Plasm. Set now grants health recovery alongside its Mage and Stam. Fair enough, so you got all 3 stats now. Increase the bonus of each recovery to 276 up from 250. So Amber Plasm got a buff as well, which is quite nice. Archmage, this set now increases your magical recovery by 360 for 10 seconds after dealing damage with a fully charged heavy attack, rather than granting an 834 whenever you do a fully charged heavy attack. So, instead of 834 back once, you get 360 over 10 seconds for doing a heavy. Not too bad. Ashen Grip, this set now deals damage in the same size as Fiery Breath does, the DK Breath, resulting in twice the arc and reach than it previously did, ensuring it more appropriately reaches the visual effects. So, as far as you can see it is as far as it will actually hit. Who was that? Thank you for the shout out. Oh, I didn't open the beer. I was only going to drink it and not even open it. Paul, how you doing? Just remember, by the way, people, although these have been worked on for quite some time, there is still potential for change because it's only the first week of PTS, so things might still completely change from here. Bahara's Curse fixed an issue where this set's damage was considered direct damage in some cases. Yes, it was. Fixed an issue where the final tick of damage of this set did not heal. Handy, so if you are using that set, now you know what to do with it. Drugger's Rest increased the total healing done on this set to 19k for its duration, up from 11. So it's a 10-second heal over time if you do a heavy attack. That's a 19k heal in small area of effect. That's a really welcome buff. This one, Elfbane. This set no longer works with channeled effects or beams. So no more beamers cheese. Just saying. Ember Shield fixed an issue where the damage from this set was considered direct damage instead of damage over time. Reduce the try again. Reduce the armor granted to this by 3,300 down from 3,440, which is barely anything. Decrease the damage done per tick from 860 down from, to 860 down from 1,032. This set no longer has a chance to proc. Good. Stuff like that was also mentioned in the meeting today. There's lots of stuff that has a condition and a cooldown, or a condition and this, and blah 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 blah. And basically, you can have something like this deals damage if you do a crit, and you have 10% chance to do it, and it has a cooldown. It's too many stacking bonuses to just negatively affect that percentage of it to proc. Well, that's affecting some of these. Same as Gallenway, no longer has a 50% chance to proc, it's just altered its cooldown instead. Same with this, instead of it having a 50-50 proc chance, it has no proc chance set, it just does what it does, but you can now basically control it. Surgically nuke the elf, Bane Zanchis. Where is this gone? Grace of Gloom, increase the duration of this set to 10 seconds up from 5, that's quite helpful. Increase the cooldown to 25 up from 15. It's a pretty long duration. If you're in PvP, 10 seconds is a long fucking time, that makes sense. Although it's quite drastic. I mean, 20 probably would have been enough. Depends how long the fight is and who's on it. If it's on a tank, then that makes sense. This set now probably works with Overload and Morphs and other... Let me see that again. This set now probably works with Overload and Morphs Heavy Attack. Okay, fine. I see a mix of 2 of your builds from Ember Shield. You don't see any of them. I'm not giving you anything, Kuso. Are you telling me how my brain works? You're probably right. Hannah Mafala, this set now has a negative telegraph to denote the damage area. Good, because that was invisible. Healing Mage. This set now more accurately procs off abilities that met its stated requirements. Fixed an issue where the enemies affected by this debuff in the area around you did not match the typical sort. Selection prioritizing the nearest enemies.
I love winnings.
Good.
Drinks all around.
Cryon, thank you very much. So basically, that set used to randomly land on multiple enemies within a given area. So 6 maximum if there was 10 enemies in there. 6 was get it. But they jump around picking random ones all the time. Now it's the closest. Impregnable Armor. This set now grants 1650 crit resistance down from 2000. People stack crit resistance like fuck and it's too high. So some of this was brought down. Kvatch Gladiator, this set now increases your weapon damage by 1475 against targets under 25% health, rather than increasing your weapon damage of your light and heavy attacks by 1800. Now, that is actually quite helpful because this is weapon damage to everything, not weapon damage to lights and heavies. This set was used on the Hersine's hammer build. So before it was just lights and heavies, now it's pretty much everything. But obviously there's a decrease there slightly. So that will actually be a bit of a buff to it. While the lights and heavies are a little bit less, overall is more. So that's quite a nice one there. The condition to that is literally just low health. Leech and Plate. Fix an issue where the set's damage was considered direct damage in some cases. Because it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be damage over time. For those of you that have been using the Leech and build, you'll notice that it is damage over time. But sometimes, rarely, it's a little skewed. So they're just making sure that's fixed. Fix an issue where the healing value from the set become bloated when hitting targets with damage shields. Oh, I hadn't noticed that. So if you're up against a target that's got a damage shield on it, your heals become a little bit more stupid. If you've got a damage shield, that's different. Most of the time, you're not really against that many damage shield targets, unless, of course, you're in PvP, or if you're against some of the very specific bosses. So, like the first boss in VMO, the boss in Moongrave Fame, stuff like that, anything that's got a shield on it. There aren't many in PvE, but PvP, this could be a little bit nuts. Fix an issue where the final tick of damage was not of this set did not heal. So if you were getting 5 seconds worth of heals, which you are, the last one's not actually ticking. So that potentially is a fix, but for those of you already using it, will feel like a buff. Argument Scales, this set now increases your health recovery by 800 and your armor by 6400 while you are below 60% health, rather than increasing your health recovery by 50% while below 60. 800 is a fuck ton. 50% is a lot, depending on how much you've got, but 800 flat out, I mean, even as a vampire, that's going to be quite nice. The armor bonus, by the way, is actually really handy. That's kind of pariah standards, where you just go low and get loads of resists, and they'll stack as well. Elegance. Fuck off, Mike. This set now causes your light attacks to reduce the health, magic, and stamina cost of your next ability used by 10%. And your fully charged heavy attacks to increase the damage of your next direct damage attack by 2610. Previously, it just increased your light and heavies by 20%. Have you tried deconning it? I've still got full set. Now, this is a resource set. Because if you are fast-paced, every time you do a light attack, your next ability is cheaper. So that's not bad. However, if you use a fully charged heavy attack, so you're getting resources back maybe, your next direct ability is stronger. So that's a very, not necessarily unique scenario-based set, but it's got very different bonuses depending on which one of the two attacks you do. So one is more damage if you heavy then hit, heavy then hit. The other is resource cost reduction. It's fucking nuts. So fast-paced rotations actually will benefit from that quite a lot. It's got no major damage bonus from that particular bit, but it's a stupid resource reduction cost, especially if you're going to go vampire, because your abilities are going to cost more for your basic skills. Oh my god, that would be insane with Bladed Blast Bones. That's not the only ability in the game that costs, Kuso. But I like that you're supporting one skill. Reactive Armor. This set now reduces the damage you take by 33% for 5 seconds after being affected by a disabling effect, with a 20-second cooldown, rather than reducing the damage taken by 35% when you were disabled. This is a bit mad. It was already a bit nuts and somewhat over-abused, and rightly so, it was fun. This needed to happen. It's still stupidly strong. The cooldown is quite drastic in comparison to the original version of it, but I'm not fully against that change. I mean, 15 seconds would probably be a little bit more fair, I guess, but 5 seconds of that bonus is still pretty hefty. Off topic, but finally got achievement cooling your heals after trying Bloodroot Forge came out. Nice, congratulations. This set now works with snares, so that's also a benefit as well. Disabled was the only way to apply this, but now if you are slowed down, you can take advantage of it. So it's got a plus and a minus. Quite a hefty minus, but it was too powerful. It was way too easy to use. Robes of the Hiss slightly redesigned this set to apply heal over time. That heals for the original value every... Let me read that again. So redesigned this set to apply a heal over time that heals for the original value every second for 5 seconds after being hit by a disabling effect, rather than healing once a second while under the effect of it. So this would have, where is it, 5-second duration? I'll read this again. It heals the original value every second for 5 seconds. Right, so this has got a 5-second heal, basically, rather than an infinite heal if you're stuck in shit. Fair enough. Not mad about that. Let's face it, you could deliberately stand in shit and get heals forever. Which technically was the intention of it and why people used it. Or maybe it was just overlooked. That's what people were using. I mean, how long is the cooldown? It doesn't even say, does it? For 5 seconds after being hit with a disabling effect. You could probably still have a really, really high uptime on it. Depends on how strong the heal is. You need to see VDSA 2-handed axe. You need to be patient. Let me get there. We're getting there. Slow down. I'm reading it live. Fix an issue where the set could trigger off self-imposed snares and some snares meant to bypass the normal rule sets, such as boss mechanic. So this was broken to that effect. So a balancing change there. Robes of Transmutation. This set now grants 1400 crit resistance for 5 seconds when the proc conditions are met, rather than 1304 for 20 seconds. So this is a consistent, make sure you keep firing this to make it work, rather than a massive buff all the time, or for long periods. Savage Werewolf. Fix an issue where this set would double proc.
I love winning.
Thank you for the follow.
Drinks all around.
From dual wield attacks. Fix an issue where this set considered beam attacks as direct damage. RIP, that shouldn't have happened. Sergeant's Mail. Increase the damage bonus from a fully charged heavy attack to 2257, up from 1634.
Drinks all around.
Good. Thank you for the follow, by the way. That is a reasonably nice set as it is. Not something I would necessarily overuse, but the increase is interesting, so we'll see how that works out. Tormentor. This set now more accurately describes the abilities it works with, and has had its proc condition explained to work with more abilities that fail or fall into the standard type it was designed for. I have spoken to Zos about this. I'm glad this is in the notes. Previously, it only worked on abilities that operated as charges, but now works on charges, leaps, teleports, and pulls. This set will continue to not work with blinks such as streak. So did you read that properly? Silver Leash, chains, device, toppling charge, Batman, all of those types of abilities, teleport strike, all these things, Tormentor will taunt. So if you are a Dragon Knight and you use your Batman ultimate and you land in the middle of a big group of ads, they're all yours. If you have this set on and you chain something, now it's a taunt. So for those of you out there that were trying to not necessarily deliberately force people the wrong information, although some people were trying to do it to deliberately deter people away from the burn build, the whole chains taunting thing, if you have this set, it does. No, Pounce does not work. I have already spoken to them about this. This is designed for those types of skilled. Pounce is not designed to do that, and it doesn't fall into the same rules. You can't taunt as a werewolf. So, nice try. I know people want to, but they don't want werewolves to taunt. However, this I did speak to them about 2 or 3 weeks ago, so kind of knew it was coming, but had to wait, obviously, until the notes came out. This has been not necessarily reworked, but fixed for its proper intention. As Becca and I will work. Dude, Becca and Armor will pull stuff in, so yes. I don't want werewolves to taunt. The idea of the wolf tank is nauseating to me. Yeah, of course. ISO drops just crown crates. Essentially, yes, but they're individual, specific ones. They're not the ones you can buy. Vampire Lord. Right. We're going to put this out there because I know loads of people are going to make builds about vampires and they're going to go, hey, it's the first vampire build ever. No, it's not. There's a few. I have a build called The Vampire. It will be updated in Greymoor. No, you won't get any spoilers because none of it's real yet. And we don't know what's going to happen. But obviously it's going to be updated because it makes sense. However, most of you know that we're using the Vampire Lord set, which currently reduces the cost of abilities for the vampire and increases vampire damage. That's been reworked to a stupid amount. And yes, I tested it on the Greymoor server when we were doing the preview, but we'll go on to the actual PTS and check it out as well. Stage 1 to 4. 1 to 4. You will take additional flame damage. 1%, 2%, 4%, and 6%. Okay? But Regular ability
Drinks
cost
all around.
increases are up on top of the passives by 1, 2, 4, and 6. However, vampire ability cost is down by 5, 10, 15, and 20%. So you end up with like a 60% reduction to vampire abilities. For being an active vampire, your abilities are stupidly cheap. I'm not going to say numbers because they may be different on the PTS, but I managed to get the vampire ultimate down from something stupidly high to something stupidly low. And it's fucking mad. So this is a very nutty change to the 5-piece bonus. So we have Mass Taunt now. You technically have one already, Borenson, if you use Topple and Charge, because it does actually work with Tormentor. But yes, they're making it more effective to basically use AoE-based leaps and charges to take advantage of that set. Yes. Was wondering where they were coming from. That was technically going to be in a potential Templar build in the future, but since they did finally add this after talking to Zos recently about it, you might see it in other places instead. It's already on the Tormentor build, but now it's going to be a lot more desirable for different playstyles, and especially for different tanks, and especially for stuff that wants to pull and taunt without having to grab, stab, grab, stab. Although, you may still want to do that because you might want the Fracture and the Breach. There's other skills that do that as well. So now you just think very clearly. Chain it in and stab it. So you've got the enemy in front of you. You've got the debuff. You've got a taunt. There are skills that do Fracture. There are skills that do Breach. There is an ability to drag stuff in and automatically taunt it, which saves up skill slots and blah, 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 blah. There's lots of different ways to tip the scales and balance different ways to play and still get the same results. So this set is actually going to be quite helpful, especially for people that want to kind of diversitize with certain ways to play and make some things a little simpler. Maybe your group has got Fracture and Breach on the ground already by default, by negative AoEs on the ground towards the enemy, and you just pull them in with taunts from chains. Shit like that can now be messed with. But we'll see. Lots of stuff to look into. There could still be changes along the way. Winterborn fixed an issue where the snare from this set could fail to apply. Don't really like that set anyway. Thank you very much indeed. Hugely appreciated. Jojo, we're going to be here for a very, very long time if you list every single possible pull ability and ask, does it work? First of all, read this. Pulls. Now your questions are answered. You're going to have to use your own initiative on that one. It's quite clear what it stands for. So, yes. To answer your question, yes. But anything that pulls the enemy. So, there's other stuff. It's like when people ask me what server do you play on, and I say all 6 of them. And they go, what even? Yes, all of them. Can test a PTS, I'll be stuck in it. Good. Want people to test stuff. Want people to put forward feedback to Zos rather than just doing this on the forums all the time. Does Uber Eats work with Tormentor? Yes. Monster sets. Right, Winterborn, by the way. The snare, meh. That set is one of those that I like the look of. The proc is quite nice, and I just don't use it in content because it just seemed a bit shit. I want it to do more damage. I was wondering this as well. Dear oh dear. Okay, monster sets have been updated to be more comparable to 5-piece sets in regards to our set bonus efficiency standards. While most are value adjustments, a few sets have received larger adjustments to bring them in line with intended fantasies or to improve their flexibility in use cases. Bear in mind, by the way, whether we like it or not, some sets are overperforming like fuck, and if you want to ask for balance, you have to take the rough with the smooth. Just a disclaimer there. Now, the sets now grant weapon damage and spell damage equal to the amount of ultimate spent. This is Bollarg, by the way. Thank you for the follow.
Drinks all around.
Rather than double the amount spent. So it actually has the amount you spent. So if you spend 500 spell and weapon damage, not 1,000. It now also grants you physical and spell penetration equal to 23 times the amount spent. So, do you play on mobile? Sure, why not? If you fire off an ultimate and you spend 500 ultimate points, you get to times that by 23, and that's how much spell and physical penetration you get out of it. That is quite mental, and basically I found you, you're dead in PvP mode. That, for a bomber, is literally fucking gold. That's nice. Increase the duration of the bonuses to 12 seconds up from 10 as well. So you've got plenty of time. You can even start executing people if you don't want to run away. Now, Bloodspawn. Darts, if you're watching,
I love
sorry,
winning.
dude.
Drinks all around.
When we were doing the test, we were on comms talking about this, and he saw it, and I tried so hard not to laugh. It does make sense,
I love
but
winning.
it's a hit
Drinks
for some.
all around.
It's not that bad. It really isn't. Thank you for the follow, much appreciated. But it's one of those things where something gets overused, they have to drop it a little bit. The set's functionality was meant to help enable a burst to the caster for a short duration, while rewarding holding onto your ultimate for a longer time. With the original values, the set could hit those notes, but would often fail against high mitigation targets due to just getting flat increases. This change means that the set will be stronger against high mitigation targets, while weaker against squishy targets, allowing healthier balance point and reducing some gank potential. So this is on the Bullark stuff. This is why they altered this shit. We've got one for Bloodspawn. It's now coming, right? Reduce the armor granted from this set to 3300 down from 6450. 645 is a big gap to have anyway. If you want to be really, really squishy and then have a big friggin' boost, you're literally flipping a coin on that one. So I think if you've got higher stats and you're not quite close to cap, this can fill the gap. Whereas this one would probably make you too squishy based on a chance to get that resistance. And sometimes it could benefit you a lot, and other times you could think, oh shit, I wish I had it right now. So I'm not too mad about the resistances overall. It's still a flip of a coin to some extent. Reduces the ultimate proc down to 8 from 14. This got reduced in the past from 15 to 14, and there was no point. 8 is a kick in the pants. But it's still fucking not high
Winning. I love
in
winning.
comparison to
Drinks
all the other
all
sets giving you
around.
nothing. Thank you, Doverkin, for the follow. And this is why. There was a cooldown of 6 seconds. Now it's 5. So you can potentially get 8 ulti every 5 seconds. That and minor heroism
I love
and your
winning.
basic
Drinks
recovery
all around.
is still really fast. It's just not quite as OP as it already is. You're 6 ultimate down on the deal, but you are 1 second up. So I'm going to have to accept it because it is what it is. But I'm just going to selfishly say I wish it was still there. Dots, I am on your side, but we both know why that was reduced. It is broken, so fuck it. We have to suck that one up. It's still fucking strong. 3,000 resist is high. 8 ultimate for fuck all is great. Size of development comments, so you just read from the beginning of Bloodspawn. I think it's below. No, you're already behind me, Crazy. I've caught up with that. I'm now doing it. You're behind on the stream. Bloodspawn was one of the original monster sets created before the game had time to develop more complex behaviors and mechanics. Because of this, the total power it enabled is often sometimes significantly higher than other sets, which I would agree on, leading to situations where it overshadows them. Fair. How many people in PvP go, Bloodspawn, 100%. How many times have you asked someone for advice in PvP and every single person has just gone hands down, Bloodspawn if you're just playing, fucking Infernal Guardian if you're using damage shields, and then Bollark if you're a bomber. You don't hear many other choices for the most part. Knocking it down a bit won't necessarily break it. It's still bloody powerful. And it's a short duration buff anyway, but it will kind of maybe raise people's eyebrows to other stuff. Rip Bloodspawn. You're slow. 50% resistance, 70% less ulti. Yes, we can figure that out. I'm just saying it is a drop, but you have to consider also the cooldown has been altered by a second or so. So over 5 procs, you actually proc it more often by quite a bit, but it is a drop. Anyway, we're still reading this bit. Where the fuck was I? We decided to retain defensive and offensive options with a milder window of opportunity. The reduced duration and cooldown helps tone it down in smaller skirmishes, already kind of half explained backwards, while retaining some of its power in outnumbered situations, since it will be able to proc more frequently and give ulti each time. So that is technically true. Obviously, the more people that are inside your fight, the more option you have for it to proc. Giving you that almost guaranteed 14 ultimate in a situation like that was a little bit too strong, although I fucking enjoyed it. You are still going to proc it just as often. What can you do? Maybe more than half its stats would call that a little bit. You're just picking holes. I made very clear that I would prefer it to not be nuked, but I can see why it is. You can take or leave that in any way you see fit. I'll still probably use the fuck out of it in PvP anyway. I don't see why you wouldn't still use it. Chokeform. This set now heals. Fuck off. That's fucking strong. Again, I get why people are pissed about it. And I am, to some extent, disappointed that it's gone down. So, what can you do? But I know why they did it. And I'm not going to be mad about it. I'm still going to use it. And again, we've got 4 more weeks or so. Maybe 4 or 5. They could bump it back up. Maybe they'll push it to 10 ulti or something. 10 ulti wouldn't be quite so bad. 14 down to 10. I wouldn't be mad at that. The resistance buff is meh anyway. I'm not really mad overall about the resistance being halved. I mean, lots of people go really high resistances anyway. So sometimes that doesn't even counter what they lost or what they don't have. Depending on the situation. Especially in PvE, where lots of people use it on tanks and such. This is too much in PvE anyway, because they're probably even rocking close to cap without it. So this is already overkill. Now this is now closer to what they might be missing. We'll see. Maybe they'll change it, maybe they won't. Little bit upset. Not going to cry about it though. I'd still use it. This set now heals for 24k over 6 seconds rather than 19 over 4. Fair enough. That's not really a huge buff as such. It's probably about the same. It's not far off because you've got the 2 extra seconds and the extra heal, or you've got 2 less seconds and the lesser heal. So that's not far off what it already is. But obviously that's over a longer duration of time. It's more consistent as a hot. Increase the proc chance of 15 up from 10. This is single target anyway, so I don't see that being a bad thing. There's most content that you'd use that in where it only helps one person. You have to consider that the longer duration and the increased heal over the duration, obviously, could cause a negative issue. Because you could heal someone for too long and wait for the proc to really want to be on someone else right now, while matey boy over there who ran into a corner is sucking up the one person heal. So while the heal is really nice and the duration is really nice, you may still have to be very careful in your groups to not overtake that proc so that other people can actually get a friggin' heal. So not terrible. Proc chance increased makes sense. I mean, it wasn't great anyway, especially for a one-person proc. Reduce the range of the beam from 28 meters to 15 in order to help introduce more counterplay with a strong heal. Okay, so matey boy in the corner is not getting fucking heal anyway. That one has pluses and minuses, even though it looks like a plus on paper. So, situations be what they are. That could help or hinder a situation. If everyone's stacking and one person is always getting low health, though, they're going to be fairly happy. Dome House, please be nice. I fucking hate this set. Sorry, devs. I'm afraid I do. It's shit. This set now grants 300 weapon or spell damage while standing in the ring rather than 200. The outer ring now deals 1380 damage up from 1000 and remove the proc chance. Now, the one piece bonus to this is actually really good. It's a really nice flat stat for anybody. So I've never been mad about the first piece. The bonus itself, fair enough, you've increased the spell and weapon damage. That's quite helpful as a flat bonus, so that's really, really nice. But the ring, how do I describe it? I haven't got any prop that I can use. I'm not going to use my hand because someone will find out some weird fucking innuendo and fuck with it. Anyway, big circle. Anyone that touches the edge of the circle takes damage, but anyone outside or inside doesn't. How often do you have people standing dead on the circle? The only time that really becomes relevant is if you've got multiple of them and they're all stacking on top of each other, and you literally just brace yourself in a circle in PvP. You have like 20 of you stacking it up, no one's getting in, that wall's going to kill everyone. Maybe that was the intended design and maybe people just haven't done it. But in normal everyday situations, I don't like the damage proc from it. But I am happy about the weapon and spell damage increase because that is something that I felt was a bit lacking. And the flat bonus to it now is quite nice, especially with a proc chance removed. So it's just going to happen. So fair enough. If that's consistent all the time, I mean, that might actually counter the negative side to the damage circle, and it might hit more things more often. What I'd like it to do is follow you. That would be quite cool. Earthcore. This set now heals 29,700 over 10 seconds, rather than 30,000 over 6. Not too much difference, it's just a longer channel. A little bit of an increase to the heal, if you count the whole thing. To reduce the burst heal potential. Okay, so more hot. Reduce the cooldown to 20 seconds from 35. That I am in favour of. The long heal over time still makes it dangerous because someone could be that one guy that always sucks up the heal when someone else needs it and they're sitting there going, "Oi mate, can I have one please? Where's my fucking heal?" But 35 seconds was fucking harsh. 20 seconds is actually pretty good. Especially if you are in situations where you want to utilize it more often. I get that it had a long cooldown, but one person making a mistake could just take your proc and you feel useless using your helmet because someone's just constantly using something you want to control. There is still the element of that, but less risk, I guess. 20 seconds is not a very long time. In PvP, that may be broken as fuck. Just saying. 10 seconds up, 10 seconds down is a bit dirty. So it has good and bad on it. We'll see. We're going to have to test it, but I can see situations where it could be bad, and I can see situations where it can be good. Engine Guardian. This now restores 550 Magico or Stamina per tick, rather than 1204. Increase the healing to 1955 per tick, up from 1204. Reduce the range of the beam from 15 down from 28. Good, because that was stupid. Although your pet should be staying with you anyway. And they did say that... well, no, that's non-combat pet. Never mind that. Fix an issue where the sphere would not attempt to cast again after being interrupted. I think that's an oversight more than an issue, more than a bug, because they did make it so that if you were interrupted, you couldn't cast for a brief period of time. I think they considered that towards actual pets as well as players. Thank you very much for the follow. So I think, again, that was an oversight, not necessarily a bug. Fix an issue where the cooldown displayed was incorrect to the actual cooldown. Previously displayed 10.7 seconds, but is now 10 seconds as intended.
I love winnings.
Thank you for the follow. I'm late. How's the patch looking? So far, so good. It's not terrible. There are some things I'm a little bit about, but we'll be alright.
I love winnings.
Thank you for the follows. This will also fix an issue where if you manage to proc the set after 8 seconds, you would not summon a new sphere and simply prevent the set from procking again for another 8 seconds, resulting in a 16-second cooldown. I'm pretty sure you've all seen that before, where you're constantly spamming an ability to see if that 10% will actually happen. It just doesn't fucking appear. That's why. You were getting ghost cooldown. So that's now fixed. So while this one looks like it was more of an oversight of mechanics, this one does look like a fixed unintended bug. So that's quite nice. This is a drop, but if it's going to proc more often because it's fixed, fair enough, we can't really complain. Similar to Bloodspawn, Engine Guardian is a set that was made during a very different time to this game's life and has significantly affected balance decisions made to other resource return sets. Oftentimes, monster masks that deal with resource management would be significantly stronger than a 5-piece counterpart because of this. By reducing the total regen possible from this set, we can allow for healthier balance between all sets in the game. The healing has been increased to better match other healing sets standards as well. Okay. Grunwolf, reduce the primary resource restore granted by the set to 700 and the secondary to 350, down from 1000 to 500. That may piss a few people off, but it's not a massive drop, to be fair. Especially if you've got bonuses and stuff already in your groups and trials and that kind of shit. You're probably over resource recovery anyway versus what you're using, so it's still not the end of the world. Lambris, please increase this. Increase the damage done from each meteor shower to 215, up from 1170. Good. Because while this set has very specific proc conditions, so if you do lightning damage, the lightning meteors come down. If you do flame damage, the flame meteors come down. They're on 2 different cooldowns. I never felt like the damage was enough in comparison to other sets. Ever. Lambris equals me. So that's a welcome buff. You can no longer layer each meteor shower. That is different. Increase the proc chance to 33%. Fair enough. Fix an issue where this set was triggering other proc sets. Fix an issue where this set's fire damage was not extended by Elfbane. So if you cannot layer each meteor shower, then the condition must be it just procs full stop. I guess. Or is it one off, one on? That was a little bit skewed. Can no longer layer each meteor shower. We're going to have to test it. Anyway, the fire side of it should have been buffed by Elfbane. Yes, it wasn't. Infernal Guardian, increase the damage done for each mortar to 4430, down from 5000. That's not going to be a massive issue there. People are still going to be able to spam the fuck out of it. Fix an issue where the set would fail to proc from hardening enchant while using channeled heavy attack. Yep, that should have worked. So no more lightning flame shower. It's not what it says. It says they don't layer. So what you could do before is you could proc one, then proc the other. Perhaps they both go at the same time now. Who knows? There's a cool visual. I don't think the visuals are gone. I suspect that's because on live you have the shower from both bars at almost the same time. That's not what it means. At least I don't think it is. Basically, if you did lightning damage, one would fire. If you did flame damage, the other would fire. Sometimes you get them both proc at the same time. Sometimes they staggered. Layering one on top of the other. Whichever. It looks like that's been taken away. So maybe they just both fire at the same time. Fuck knows. We'll have to find out. We're going to read the patch notes. You can watch them here while I'm reading them, or you can do this. There you go. Why do people come to my stream to ask me where the link is? It would have been quicker to Google it, wouldn't it? There you go. Enjoy. Maybe they meant hitting the same location at the same time. Maybe. I don't know. That would be counterintuitive.
I love winning. Drinks all around.
Blackbird, thank you for the follow. You can put them at the same time before when used to. That's not what I'm trying to say, Maverick. I'm being quite clear with the way I'm describing it. I can't do it any other way. We're gonna find a patch notes. Jet, how you doing? We read that one. Fix an issue where the damage of this set could fail to inherit some bonuses such as ancient knowledge. Krog, increase the damage per tick from 3,000 to 3,045. I really don't think that's necessary. That's a tiny bonus. I mean, of course, when you stack bonuses on top of that, CPs, blah, 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 blah. I mean, that will increase. But I don't think that 45 is really going to make a massive amount of difference. It's already quite strong. Lord Warden reduced the armor bonus from the one piece to 1487, down from 2975. That's fine. Most people using that are generally using it on tanks, unless, of course, you're using the Hisskeeper build, in which case that's got loads of resistances anyway. I don't think that's going to be a massive drop. This one is a substantial drop, but if you've got buffs and bonuses within inside your group, that's still a really big bonus anyway, flat out. So, yes, it's been reduced, but it's not massive. I still think that's going to be very bloody powerful. Marcelok reduced the damage done to 720, down from 8k. That, as a stack and bonus, is actually substantial. So we'll have to see how that works out. It's been used a fuck ton, that has. It's a really nice set, actually. Yes, he says that. You can get layer when you put lightning glyph on the flame. Yes, I already explained. Words. I've been all. How you doing? Welcome to the stream. Will the decrease? They have to put increase somewhere, pretty much. Jeff, the Jeff helmet. Please don't fuck this up. Streamline the damage of the Daedroth's attacks to always deal 3865 damage over each ability's duration. So no matter what it's doing, whether it's doing hits or breath or whatever. Excuse me, which is 2 seconds, down from the variant values, which averaged around 4257. So technically, a drop. The Daedroth will now follow a pattern to its attack combinations rather than having random chance to use them. Fix an issue where the breath attack was proccing burning significantly more frequently than more intended, so its chance has gone down. Increase the proc chance up to 33% from 10%, so technically, although the damage has gone down, the uptime is going to be higher, so that will level. The Daedroth can no longer be targeted, and change the one piece bonus to max magicka from max health, so now more towards damage rather than survival and damage, weirdly. Can't bloody block enemy abilities anymore. There are some fixes in here for some of that. It's not actually your block failing, it's your ability coming in not realizing you have the resources to block it. So while you're doing it, it's thinking you don't have enough to do it. So that was read earlier, but it's something that is being fixed. Sexy when you talk figures, thank you very much. I do tend to go with averages to make it not so complicated for the people listening. But if you watch my eyes twitching, you can see I'm figuring stuff out. Or is it the beer? Immortal Inferno more? Who knows? You can't attack it. You can't kill it. Maybe mobs can kill it. Who knows? AoE. I mean, enemies won't accidentally target your Daedroth since it cannot be targeted anymore. Well, there is that. That's very true. Mighty Showdown, reduce the one piece bonus to 1487, same as Lord Warden, down from 2975. Again, I mean, most people using that want the Major Resolve, Major Ward. Well, Major Ward is Major Resolve is actually now called the 5280. But most using it, not everyone, most using it are tanks, and they usually, if they level their stats out fair, can still hit cap without it, without this first armor bonus. If you're not hitting it, you can plug it in your CPs. And as a DPS, if you are using chew down, I mean, you're only losing like 1.5k resistances anyway. Not even that, just short of it. And you can still find that with very few amount of champion points. So it's not the end of the world. Where this is a loss, you can gain it somewhere else. Well, in Kina, increase the weapon and spell damage granted from this set up to 560, up from 516. Not massive, but okay. Used to wear 1 chew down, 1 Lord Warden for the huge armor boost, sometimes on DPS. That's actually still doable. You just have to plug the extra gap. When you were doing that, obviously, now you're going to be about 3k down rather than 1.5k if you're just using the one piece. But you still got options. There's other stuff you can do. That's been half, which is okay, but it's still super boosted. Yeah, it was nuts. Mama C. Can never say that fucking name properly. We'll just go with what Finn said and just pretend we didn't give him credit for a cool name. Increase the magic granted by this set to 822 up from 600. That is a substantial buff. And I'm glad they did, because quite honestly, with the whole Ice Heart fucking fallout, I don't think they gave that enough to make it unique, apart from the visual, which is very cool. So that's okay. I mean, it doesn't mean I'm still going to use it, but I mean, I like the increase on it, if anything. I mean, if that was the only thing they could do with it, why not? Narayan F, this is needed to buff forever. Increase the damage of the set to 9393 up from 8890. Fair enough, that needed a boost. It's been shit for a while. Increase the proc chance to 15% up from 10. Good, because it doesn't really proc enough unless you're doing lots and lots of direct damage in area of effect, in which case it procs a lot more often. The one piece bonus now grants spell damage. Ooh. That's quite good. Did I miss the juicy stuff? No, we're kind of on it. Sorry, I only just got here. What are the vamp changes? I'm not going to go backwards in the stream. There's a massive, massive patch note, so I'm going through them in order. So you might have to either rewind the stream, rewatch it later, or just try and keep up. We're going to go over stuff later on as well. Don't worry. But I can't keep going backwards every time someone's missed something. But I did go over it. Don't worry. There's going to be some really cool stuff coming. Bogdan, decrease the healing per tick of this set by 2460 down from 2525. That is not a massive drop, and probably not even necessary. Increase the proc chance to 20% up from 10. That drop in heal versus that increase to proc is a fucking huge buff. That is already a very strong set, and that just boosted it. So while the heal is consistently a little bit lower than its previous strength, not by much, you're going to have it there more often. That's nice. Pirate Skeleton, reduce the one piece bonus to 1487. We can see a pattern here. All the flat one piece bonus resistances have gone down. I think this is probably, who said this earlier? Grey? It's probably for people like yourself, not to be negative about it because that's not the intention, but I think a lot of people necessarily, well, not necessarily PvE or PvP specifically, but a lot of people have managed to get very high resistances with very little effort. And I think they thought it was too strong, whereas tanks could plug the hole anyway. So I think they've allowed us to still get resistance bonuses, but make them minor rather than major in comparison. So you can still use it, but you might want to change your points a little bit more rather than having full out glass cannon and resistances. Maybe now you can have the resistances, but you might have to take some of that glass cannon away and put your points somewhere else. It's just a little bit of a balance issue, I think, for people that can over benefit from resistances when they weren't necessarily designed to as a role. But again, it's not a huge drop. It's really not that much. Have a good one. See you later, man. Thank you very much for watching. Stacking the ones. Yeah, one piece bonus like that stacked twice is fucking crazy. Was what I recommended to people first time in Maelstrom. Yeah, same here. Either that or Bloodspawn, which is somewhat nuked now, but still bloody strong. I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? You got the 2-piece bonus there for 3.3k resistances, or you got a 1-piece bonus for 1.4 or 1.5. So if you look at it on that perspective, I mean, you could still stack the 2 individual 1-pieces, or you could use one, which is a proc chance, to give you more than the 2 pieces combined and ultimate back. So what do? 1 and 1, or a chance for something that's stronger than both? The word balance comes into play there, I guess. So with that in mind, it makes me a little less mad about Bloodspawn.
I love winnings. Drinks all around.
Bit upset. Bit sulky. I'm not about to fucking explode the forums with it, though. Thank you for the follow, by the way. Malabeth, decrease the damage of this set by to 5715 over its duration, down from 58505. It's not even 100. That's fine. So 90 damage drop. Increase the proc chance to 10% up from 8.
Drinks all around.
Now that's when you get hit. So, Captain Steve, thank you very much. This proc chance is already fine. Most people using this are using it because you get hit, because it's a proc condition on it. 8% up to 10. Sure, it's a bit of a buff, but I don't think you're going to see the difference. I can make that proc consistently in content anyway, especially if you're grabbing all the ads and making sure stuff's hitting you. So, I mean, I think that's possibly just for stats to make them feel better about the balance of all the different sets, rather than something that's substantially going to make a difference to the set. I think that's more of a in line with standards adjustment, rather than something that's actually going to make a difference. I think there's more code applied to that than there is actual benefits or losses. I don't think that's going to make a huge difference at all. I'd be more happy about Bloodspawn if they introduce another ulti monster set. Now, we haven't got there yet. We ain't through them. You never know. Let me stand warden by bow. Would a bow and melee be good? Is a bow better? Just wondered if enemies are closest attack you. Depends on your playstyle, dude. It's entirely up to you. I've got builds for all different types of playstyles. Celine's increase the damage. Oh, fuck off. Increase the damage of this set to 13364 up from 12000. That is unnecessary unless something else is fixed. Now, I'm gonna piss people off with facts on this one. Now, the condition for that is melee damage with a very fast proc rate. It's like 4 seconds. So if you cast a skill, and it takes you a second to cast it, so you hit it, and then you light attack. You hit it, then you light attack. You got 2 conditions there where you can do melee damage, and it could proc. But jabs, instead of cast once, there's a chance. Cast twice, there's a chance. It's bang, 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 bang. Really, really fast. Every single fucking melee hit is adding a chance to proc it. It's the fastest way to proc that set at the moment because of that overlooked application to it. So unless they alter jabs a little bit to consider the initial hit of it being able to proc it, I think that's an unnecessary bonus. It's also things like spin to win multiple enemies. Spin to win can only be fired so fast. So that's not the same. And also, Rapids is single target, whereas Jabs is AoE. So you can hit multiple targets to have increased chance to proc it from one skill. So if it was just per cast or per hit, that would make more sense and this would be fine. But due to the fact that that can hit so fucking rapidly and each hit can have a chance to make this apply, it's overkill. So on paper, I'll say on paper because we have to test it, I think this is way too much right now because of that one issue. If they fix that one issue, then that will be fine. So I meant multiple targets makes it proc all the time. Exactly, it's fucking nuts. I mean, sure, that means it only hits the target that it procced on, so it doesn't actually apply to the one that you want it to, maybe. But it's still a fast way to make it happen. Increase the damage of this set, Celestrix, by the way. Increase the damage of this set to 6836 up from 5030. Oh, oh god. Nature in the chat, Nature's Bounty. Now, the damage of that particular set is not something that I initially use it for, although it does help. I use it for the stun. However, it has a chance if you do damage. They've increased the damage of it. They've removed the chance to proc, so it's guaranteed, and slightly increased the cooldown to 6 seconds from 5.5. The reason for this is because the cooldown isn't 5.5 for stun immunity anyway. So that just lines up. So that's potentially a buff. Be careful though, because if it's any damage, you might stun stuff at a distance, so be careful. My Stampler got stronger with today. I know, right? What the fuck? It didn't need it. Sentinel, remove the proc chance from this set. Reduce the tick count of the heal and resource by 1. Increase the magic and stamina restore by 125 per tick up from 115. I'm not going to be too mad about resource gain sets for your group because I do think that is something that lots of people can utilize and stack on top of each other. It's not a massive bonus overall. I mean, percentage-wise, based on what this already is, I mean, it's a bit of a buff. But I quite like that anyway, and I do feel sometimes it does feel a little weaker than it should be. So, I mean, that's a group helping tool. I don't see why it's a problem. You can use that or you can use something else. So, Shadowrend, never really liked this set. This set no longer applies minor maim to the target's hit for 3 seconds. Instead, reduces their damage done by 5% for 2 seconds. Thank you for the follow. This debuff cannot stack with multiple sources. Significantly reduce the streamlined damage of the Clan Fizz attack to 800 from 3240. The attacks it deals are no longer random. Reduce the cast time of the tail swipe to 400 milliseconds and reduces cooldown by 3. So, this debuff cannot stack multiple sources. This is a unique damage reduction bonus that doesn't stack with itself. So you can't have multiple clan fears. But one of them does apply a unique debuff that would essentially stack with minor maim. So that should be insane cool. It already is, dude. It's fucking nuts. So this is actually quite beneficial. This looks like a bit of a buff, to be fair. Because you can have minor maim in your group fucking easily. It's not hard to apply that. And this is an extra mitigation effect. Now, if you consider some of these bonuses here, like, I mean, it's not going to be a flat 5% anyway, and neither is 1487. But when people are losing 1.5k on these bonuses here, but you have a chance to utilize stuff like this for 5% reduction to damage from enemies incoming, these kind of trade off of each other as options that could potentially end up being the same results as we're getting now, not far off, and just add to the way people play, just a way to twist things up a little bit. So I don't think that's a bad thing. It does look like a bit of a buff, but just make sure by the looks of it you don't have more than one in your group. Joe, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Wrong button. These patches are fucking huge, by the way. Let's read this.
Winning. I love winning.
Thank you for the follow.
Drinks all around.
Oh my word. Previously, this set was enabling far too much damage reduction for passive set, as well as dealing a sizable amount of damage while doing so. Rather than introducing a huge cooldown to the set, we've opted to change the bonus for maim to a weaker version, but by making it unique so it should help the set become more viable in PvE, the reduction to damage also reinforces the set as a tank-centric set rather than a bruiser. There you go. Spawn of Mafala increases the damage per tick for 1340 up from 1096. Good, because that set was quite nice. The downside of that is once you heavy attack and makes it land on the ground, it's got to stay there for the cooldown. If the boss moves, fucking dot is gone. I don't think that ever did enough damage in comparison to some of the other sets, so the buff is a welcome one. Maybe we'll see people actually using it, although I do think that the bonus to that, the health bonus, does need to be standardized, if they want to use that term, versus other stuff, and they need to take the health away. Was it stamina again anyway? Was that changed? Let me check. Set that might have been changed a while back. Spawn of me. We can check it now. It's been a long time since I used it. Cancel that. It was changed. Okay, so that's fine. I welcome the buff. Stonekeeper, reduce the... Oh, fuck off. They're going to nuke it. Reduce the health, magic, and stam restored from this set to 2480, down from 5350. That... Fuck off. Is horrible, but it's still a big bonus, so I'm not gonna be pissed that I don't get it, because I'm still gonna get some. But half... Fuck you. Reduce the cooldown stacker to 250 milliseconds, down from 1 second, to better match the cooldown of block costs. So you can proc it faster, but the cooldown's still gonna be the same. Hard to say. I mean, to be fair, I mostly use that on the Almost Immortal Warrior, and his sustain is fucking ridiculous anyway. So it may not negatively impact that particular build, but it may on some others. So maybe for PvP it can be used less as a crutch, and in PvE, if you've got lots of resource recovery anyway, it's just a nice little buffer. My Stonekeepers, my shield! I know. On paper, looks like shit. I can see why they did it for lots of different reasons, but we will test it. Knowing that particular build that I do use it on, we shouldn't struggle. The reason is, on live stream once before, I was in Vetafirian Archive. I was being a little bit cocky. I had loads of fucking axes, and I was playing with them. I was heavy attacking them, I was mist-forming them, I was just fucking with the axes, they couldn't touch me. And I got to a point where I was a little bit cocky, and I was like, see how much resource return we have? Oh my god, you need to get this helmet. And I went into my bags and realized I didn't even fucking have it on. So I didn't notice that I had 0 restore. So I'm not going to be over the top mad about that, but I am going to test it. Not going into Phosphate for that. That's a big drop though. That's a massive, massive drop. But again, this is a much, much faster proc rate. So, I mean, you don't have to block as long while you are off cooldown, shall we say. It's not going to plug it completely, but whatever. But here we go. By now matching the standards of typical resource management sets, the values needed to be considerably reduced to offset this large loss. We've opted to allow the stacks to generate more frequently, helping the set function better in outnumbered situations. I think I just said that. Ish. Stormfist, increase the damage of the final explosion to 8470, up from 8k. Nice. It's not too bad. The shock damage from this set now bypasses spell resistance. Good, because most people use that on stamina who don't have much spell penetration. And so this particular side of the set is a little bit on the negative side. Apart from the fact it does apply minor vulnerability if you're lucky, which is why some people get nice cheesy stuff on flat dummies that don't have buffs on them. But anyway, that's actually a bit of a benefit. So that's a nice buff to that one. Swarm Mother, change the set piece for this of a 1-piece max magicka and stamina instead of stam recovery. Oh, so that set they choose a lot by tanks that don't necessarily have or utilize any form of chains can still pull stuff in, and instead of having stam recovery while holding block and not benefiting from the bonus, they can get 1k to each stat. Quite nice. I knew you'd be happy about that, Jack. Fucking stam talk over there. Symphony of Blades. This set now restores 570 resources per tick, down from 2325. Wow. The cooldown of 18 seconds is now applied per target rather than overall. Whoa. So that is a reduction if it's just one person getting it all the time. Is my music still playing? It's now about to finish. We'll go back to the beginning. Fucking hell, long stream. Single target, if you're constantly giving the resource back to one person, is a bit of a drop. Overall, in a group situation, that's a bit of a buff. Because now loads of people can get it, rather than having to wait because one person keeps sucking it up. That remains to be seen, however. That might have more group application. Because at the moment, although people do use it, it's really, really weird. So, we'll see. Your Symphony, that's really good. That is a plus, yeah. It's all getting nerfed and Zutz is going to Clone Zai for all the groups. I hope not. Further curtain, reduce the damage per tick to 100. Thank you for all the bits, much appreciated. To 100 down from 430. I'm not going to say that that's necessarily bad, because this set applies 2 debuffs. Really big ones. Thank you very much for the host, much appreciated. When it applies 2 debuffs at the same time and does loads of damage, that's overkill. So, in my opinion, that's fine. Increase the cooldown to 16 seconds up from 8. That, however, is painful. So this bit makes sense. This bit, ouch. However, maybe they don't want you to have 100% uptime on it. Whatever. Since the set was essentially a permanent, and then some, uptime of Minor Defile and Maim, it was significantly stronger than other enfeebling sets. We decided to retain the extra breathing room of 4 seconds on the debuff to ensure targets that leave the area are still affected for a time afterwards, and adjusted the cooldown to better account for the uptime. For stationary targets, the total uptime will be 12 seconds with a 16-second cooldown. So there's a 4-second gap with the minor debuffs. It's still not the end of the world. And you could be moving inside mechanics and it might be on cooldown anyway. On a permanent bonus or buff uptime or debuff uptime on a stationary boss, that is going to be a small gap. 4 seconds isn't that long. You just better hope it's not during a heavy attack or a big explosion. This, however, I mean, the damage reduction, it doesn't really need the damage anyway. It's 2 debuffs. It's fucking strong as hell. Tremor Scale. Image. Increase the damage of this set to 6k up from 5850. That's not a massive increase anyway. Increase the cooldown to 8 seconds from 4. That is pretty harsh. Enemies hit by the damage now have their physical resistance... Whoa! Enemies hit by the damage now have their physical resistance reduced by 2395 for 8 seconds. Rather than being snared for 70%, remove the proc chance. Guaranteed, if you taunt something, 2395 for 8 seconds. That is quite a substantial physical resistance debuff. Sure, it doesn't have spell resistance debuffs to it, but as far as stamina DPS are concerned, If you've got that on the target all the time, they're going to strip through that armor. That's fucking nuts. That's really nice. I mean, I don't know why they didn't do spell resistance at the same time, but that's mad. Apologize, maybe a little off topic. Any news on Battlegrounds and possible group queuing? If it's in here, we'll get to it. I haven't got there yet. Put it on tanks. Yeah, I know, right? You mean the ones that use the taunt? Since it procs from a taunt? Who knew? That's really good. This is a crazy, crazy debuff, and it can apply to the target that you're actually taunting. I'm impressed with that. By removing the snare from this set and swapping it to Armor Shred, the functionality can now be more flexible between content and playstyles rather than focusing primarily on player versus player interaction. I do not doubt that we will see this on PvE tanks. When it comes to stamina DPS, most stamina DPS, depending on their setups, we'll generalize here. Although I don't like to do that, we'll generalize. And we'll say that most people put about 61 points into physical penetration, give or take their traits in or bonuses to their sets. With all the buffs and bonuses applied to trials and all that kind of shit to get to 18,200. Magical DPS, however, barely stack anything. At most, you'll want 10 points to get 1,000 pen. So you've got an extra 51 points over a stamina DPS to put wherever the fuck you want. This, however, will allow you to remove a substantial amount of points from your penetration CPs as a stamina DPS because someone else is plugging that gap for you, giving you the freedom to put more points into other stuff. Does that make sense? Good. Sorry, I'm in the middle of the stream, and I don't know if you went over it already. Any thoughts on vampirism now? They took away the mag and stam recovery. Yes, I went over the vampire stuff. You are a little bit late, so I'm not going to go backwards, but if you want to rewind it, then it is there. Failing that, obviously, when I go into PTS, you'll see some of that anyway. I think it's really good so far. There's a lot of really good benefits. I have tested the vampire on the preview server for 5 days prior to this. They do seem to be very similar to the ones I tested, so I can kind of show that stuff visually more rather than keep going over it. This is a fucking big bonus. So these are the things you have to consider. When it looks like that, like, oh, what about magic penetration? Too easy to get pen with a magic DPS anyway. Not so easy with physical. This plugs the gap, gives you more points. Now they kind of spend equally. Awesome, thank you very much. Oh, yeah. Thank you very much indeed. Bit and cake in the chat. Hugely appreciated. Thank you very, very much. So you can move 30 CPs. Depending on what side of the scale they're on. Depending on how far they've gone in or how low they've gone. Some people might need to remove 30 or so. Some people might already be near zero anyway based on loads of pen sets. You never know. So it depends. Let's have a look at some of these other ones. Troll King. Reduce the health recovery granted to by this set to 925 down from 1548. Now, that is a fucking huge drop. But 925 health recovery is still fucking broken. So although this will be a little bit whingy for most, it's still nuts. Vampire's OP now. Vampire's always OP. They just buffed them. It's going to be one of those learn to play ability type things though, because people now have to be more active. Fixed an issue where this set had a range limit, despite being bound to heals that already pass a range check. Fair enough. This isn't a nerf of sorts, but it's still... Maybe it was just too strong. It's still bloody strong, especially if you stack health recovery. Valken Scoria, this set's one-piece bonus now grants spell pen rather than max health. So this is now more aggressive. However, the splash damage of the meteor has gone down. Valken damage went down, penetration went up. This will actually balance out if you don't have all the pen bonuses anyway to some extent, so it's not the end of the world. But for things like Murder of Fire, where we do stack into spell pen a little bit to make sure the fire damage does extra damage, that's actually a bit of a buff for stuff like that. But again, it depends on your application and what you actually put it on. Veladref. Increase the damage of this set to 1752 per spore, up from 10320. Reduce the cooldown from 8 seconds to 9. Now, the reason this isn't as high as Selene is because this does hit 3 separate targets, not 1. So obviously it's more AoE application rather than single target spamming. But I still think that the cooldown versus that is a little bit meh. That should be a little bit less if it's going to come anywhere in line with that. Zan. Decrease the initial damage of this set to 210, down from 3440. You're going to hate me for this, but I knew this was coming. Increase the damage scale and bonus to 100% per stack, up from 50. Increase the duration to 6 seconds, up from 5. Increase the proc chance to 33%, down from 20. So up from 20. So it's easier to proc, it's more reliable, has a slightly longer duration. The flat damage has gone down, but the scale and bonus has gone up. This does end up, or did end up in testing so far, a little bit less than what it is on live. But if you're honest with this particular set, PvE and PvP, this set has shined throughout for way too long and does normally tend to negate other people's choices for other monster sets. So I personally do like the damage output from Xan, but I also think it is way too powerful and has been for way too long. So I'm not mad at the slight reduction overall. There are still ways to boost the fuck out of it anyway, so whatever. And let's face it, most people that basically swear by this only really use it for the dummy anyway. It's not a massive drop once you start looking at stuff like this. So again, we'll see. On the testing server itself, this was present and it really didn't make that much difference, but we'll see. Maybe they'll change it again. There's still lots of time. I get tired of being told I have to use it on my ranged mag blade. Yeah, exactly. What's the fucking point? It doesn't even reach. Right. We might not even have time to go on PTS. We're at 1 o'clock already. Might have to do it tomorrow. We'll see. Arena weapons. We knew these were coming. So let's go. Arena weapons have all been adjusted to follow the same system as trial gear with a perfected system. Normal arenas will drop the normal versions of the sets, while veteran will drop the perfected weapons versions of the weapons. Which, I don't care. We asked for it. We're getting it. We did want it. It's just how the fuck do you implement it and make everybody happy? You can't. Either way, you're never going to make everyone happy, but the fact is it's coming. The perfected sets will now all grant the same special bonus as their non-perfected counterparts, but will have an extra set bonus of stats equal to the fourth and fifths. The density of normal perfected set, since it requires less slot to obtain, but also keep in mind that the bonus will only be active on one bar. Almost all arena weapons have been adjusted to put them more in line with the set bonus efficiency. So, their special effects will be the same throughout. So at the moment, the normal Asylum weapons and the perfected Asylum weapons have a different bonus as such. They are the same, but slightly weaker if they're on normal. This is instead going to give you an additional stat. So the bonus is the same, but the flat stat is the extra bit that you get. Trying to go to work. See that, Doc? Thank you for watching. So let's go through them. Chaotic Whirlwind. Casting Whirlwind now envelops yourself with a whirlwind for 6 seconds, which strikes out to 3 random enemies every second, dealing up to 2,675 physical damage for 10 seconds. With a 10-second cooldown. The perfected version no longer has a unique value and instead grants up to 666 weapon crit. So, you get this, but you also get this on perfected. Concentrated Force. Perfected version of a set no longer has a unique value and instead grants up to 103 spell damage. So for having that Asylum weapon on your front bar, you get extra spell damage, 103. Fixed an issue where this set was allowing each element attack to proc its respective status effect for a short duration after reaching the proc condition, rather than immediately applying each elemental status effect listed. Fixed an issue where this set could fail to apply if you bar swap before it landed. So there have been bugs with this where things haven't been working as intended and they've been fixed, but at the same time, if you have got a perfected weapon already, your weapon is getting altered. You still have the same stuff, but you get an extra 103 spell damage. So while people were whinging about one thing happening, these weapons you are benefiting from because you get this extra bonus, which you never had before. So that is the difference. When it comes to the Maelstrom stuff, you earn a weapon and it's moving places, and they're adding a new weapon for you to farm. However, if you had something that is perfect and it's being altered, you will get the extra bonus from it because you already had that version. Lots of people may or may not like that, but it is what it is. Defensive position. These need some working with because these aren't used anywhere near enough in my opinion.
I love winnings. Drinks all around.
Thank you very much for the follow. I'm shit with names. I would have pronounced that really wrong. Increase the base restore to 2200 magicka and maximum restore to 6600. The perfected version no longer has unique value and instead grants up to 877 max stamina. So for utilizing this sword and board, not only do you get the benefit from this, but you also get almost 1k extra stam. All I know is I'm really glad I didn't spend hundreds of hours in VMA. But the thing is, if you did, you'd still keep your weapon. So you didn't lose anything. What you worked for and you used and you liked, you still keep. But if you want to go back in, you can get a better one. And if you can do it anyway, you're probably going to go in there. There's going to be people 30 minutes after the server goes up going, look at me, I got a gold weapon. It's going to happen. But yeah, if you're using the Asylum weapon, especially if you're using the Perfected one already, which a lot of people are, you got a buff. Happy days. So yeah, this is quite interesting. Increase the base restore to 2200 and the maximum restore to 6600. This is a set that is a bit... One of those that is nice on paper. It's quite fun to use, but it doesn't really give you that much unless you're really utilizing the skill set for this. But the flat bonus is actually quite nice, especially if you need that extra stamina. So the Perfected version does have a bit of a buff to it. Is that the one I'm thinking of? I think it is. Discipline slash. Reduce the maximum ultimate returned from this set to 12 down... Sorry, from 15 down to 12. But that's per fucking hit, so it's still high. Fix an issue where the ultimate restore started at 48.9% rather than 49.9%. Most people don't use it then anyway. They normally use it around 30 to 25%. Fix an issue where the restore could return 0. I have seen that happen, which is annoying. It will now restore a minimum of 1 ultimate whenever it procs, even to targets that are low enough. The Perfected version now has a unique value that instead grants up to 877 max stamina. So if you've got the Perfected two-hander, almost an extra 1k stam. It's pretty nice. I mean, I can understand people being upset and can get stuff super easy normal mode runs when they had to struggle for a long time. Yeah, I know, but the people that did that are now in a position where they can just farm the fuck out of it. They generally do anyway. Some people run it like fucking 10 times a day because they're bored. Now you can run it for 10 times a day and get stuff. I just wish they would upgrade the VMA weapons, but it is what it is. It is what it is. The basic facts are you are keeping what you earn, and they're just adding some new. And by that logic, keeping what you earned, if you had a Perfected Asylum staff, you're keeping that perfected thing you earned, but that particular weapon is on the top of the table. It is already perfected. You are getting an increase. So the logic that people are trying to apply is there, and it doesn't work for the weapons for Maelstrom because they are now going to normal. It is, but it's one news and anything. So VMA weapons with tension, as they will always have, you only have to farm it if you want the new ones. Yes, you're still going to be as effective as you ever were. Bear in mind, of course, we haven't got there yet. I'm going to go over them. These are one-piece bonuses that you're getting. You're only going to benefit from that bonus on the back bar. Do you really want it? Or are you going to have to swap it to the front and change your build? Piston spray. Enemies hit by arrow spray now have their physical resistance reduced by up... What the fuck? Enemies hit by your arrow spray now have their physical resistance reduced by up to 6600 against incoming bow attacks for 10 seconds. The Perfected version no longer has unique value and instead grants up to 1190 physical pen. That is fucking filth. So bow builds, if someone's using Piercing Spray with that weapon, and that weapon is on the Yogi build by the way, that just shredded resistances for bow abilities. What the fuck? Oh my god. Up to 6600 against incoming bow attacks. Or maybe it stacks with other passives. That's fucking stupid. Put Yogi in the chat. Keep that fucking weapon. They say what it's based on. Not yet, no. It'll be more... It'll make more sense when you get into the game and see it. Means the item can occur below 160. Yes, it does. It means you can go into normal Maelstrom and level up as a new player, which I do on lots of other builds. And I can have a Maelstrom weapon at level 10. How fucking cool is that? It means when I get into pugs, I can actually do some damage with my Wall of Elements rather than just going, I wish I was 160. VMA weapons are getting minor buffs on top of the additional one. Yeah, I know. We're getting there. Not having a unique value, say force pulse, rather than every second versus every third cast will not be there. No, that's not what it's saying. They're having additional stuff to them. Where am I going? Done that. Times better. Reduce the cost of this set by 21% down from 27. So that was your combat prayer. Perfected version of this set no longer has a unique value. When they say no longer has a unique value, what they mean is before, and I did explain this a minute ago, so you have to try and keep up. Otherwise, we'll go backwards. We've been here 3 hours already. The normal Asylum weapons had a bonus. No stats, just a bonus. The Perfected one had an increased version of that bonus, which was unique to it. It was slightly stronger. That no longer applies. Normal and Perfected have the same, but the Perfected one has an additional stat. That's the difference. So if you were using a normal one in the past, you're now in line with the Perfected bonus. If you were using a perfected one in the past, you've now had your weapon buffed. So everybody wins. However, just bear in mind, it's a stat, so it counts on the bar. This has been a bloody gauntlet. Yeah, I know. The perfected version now has unique value instead and grants you extra 877 magicka. So flat stat bonus there for having it on the bar. Handy. Gallant Charge, reduce the perfected version armor to 1190. Mender's Ward, reduce the damage, duration to major vitality to... Let me read this again. Reduce the duration of major vitality to 2 seconds down from 3. Reduce the perfected version's magic recovery to 103. So that got nuked a little bit.
I love winnings. Drinks all around.
This is Sim. Thank you very much. Snap those motherfuckers. Yeah, indeed. Radar Uppercut. This set now deals 45% of the damage dealt with uppercut to all near... Oh, fuck off. Cleave. What does it do really well with? The Brawler ability, right? Wreck and Blow is single target. Wreck and Blow is AoE. This set now deals 45% of the damage dealt with uppercut to all nearby targets, rather than 100% to just one. Your Wreck and Blow just turned into an AoE fucking nightmare. Hello. Thank you very much. Reduce the perfected versions of penetration to 1190. So that was 1487, I think. So you still got a pen bonus. And now you hit in mass AoE with a Wreck and Blow. So you've got Carve, which swings. And then you've got the other one, which swings from under. So you can basically play golf with loads of enemies in front of you. So the two-hander has become more and more berserker friendly. That's fucking cool. I like that. So this one, Sad Panda. This one, Happy Days. Mortal, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Spectral Cloak. This set now increases your damage done and reduces damage taken by 10% for 2 seconds when dealing damage with Blade
I love
Cloak.
winnings.
Thank you for the follow. Rather than granting major protection for 3 seconds after casting it. Reduce perfected version stamina recovery by 103. So the recovery's gone down a little bit, but this is a bit of a buff if you have another form of major protection. Because major protection doesn't stack. But this is a damage done increase and a damage reduction bonus. Flat out. Major protection's gone. So if someone gives you major protection and you have this, that's stronger. Technically, based on the situation. Thank you for the follows, much appreciated. Follow up Regan Bro and reverse those to finish. Love these changes. Yes. What are tanks supposed to do in monster sets? Rome is burning and I'm panicking. There's nothing wrong with them. It's fine. Look at Tremor Scale. Roll back the stream. Listen to what happened instantly as soon as I saw the changes. Your life will be saved. Don't worry. Just can't wait for reaction to something very close. Yeah, well, you're going to have to wait now. I'm going to go get a beer and make you wait even longer because you were impatient and didn't let me scroll down the screen. Can I read all this on my ESO account? You can use this. Lots of people come into the stream to ask where they can read it.
All around.
You could just Google it or look up on the website. It's on Elderscrollsonline.com. Go to the forums. They're all still decent, just not mega with how they're set up, which may change. Yep, of course. This is the one with the bleed on it, isn't it? The virulent shot. Increases the damage this set does to 65% of the damage done of your scatter shot, up from 50, so that's a buff. Reduce the perfected weapon crit version to 666. So the crit went down, the damage went up. Fair enough, that's good. I quite like that in PvP, actually. Wild Impulse. Increase the damage done to this set to 3965 per elemental tick, up from 3333. And reduce the Spell Pen. Spell Pen is meh anyway, because it's really easy to fucking plug that gap. This increase the damage, I mean, it is a substantial percentage increase, but it doesn't look that much on paper, and it really isn't that much unless you're in a big clusterfuck of ads anyway, so we'll see. Dragonstar Arena. The Bow. This set now grants up to 330 weapon damage against targets affected by your poison arrow, up from 300, so basically Hunting's Rage. This set now has a perfected version, which grants you 103 weapon damage. Bear in mind, you have to have this on your bar. If it's on your front bar, and this is on your back, so you're on your front bar now, your weapon is on the back, you will still get the weapon damage increase from the set skill or from the bonus, but that 103 weapon damage will not apply. You'll only get it on the back. Now, while that will close a gap if you're doing a rotation on your back bar, that might not be as big a bonus as you think, unless you're actually holding it deliberately on the front. Tormented Dragon Leap to 1B fun. Yep, already gone over it all. Destructive Impact. This set now grants up to 600 spell damage for 4 seconds after casting Destructive Touch. That's high. Jay, hi Alice, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Dude, you fucking hosted me for a change. I normally catch you. Thank you very, very much. Welcome to the stream. We are doing a patch reading. You could have just said, yep. Oh, thanks. You don't have to be upset. Welcome to the stream. We're doing a really long patch reading. It is stressful because people keep asking me stuff that I've already done. I'm trying to be as calm about it as possible while still pushing forward. But we are now up to the arena stuff. So, welcome and enjoy. Thank you for the hosting. Can we get a shout out in the chat, please? Okay, just got here. We'll rewind. Hopefully it will work out. No worries, dude. We've done 3 hours worth of reading so far to go through as many details as possible. So I'm going to try not to backtrack too much. But we are going over currently the VDSA stuff. Now, where are we? So this is nuts. This grants up to 600 spell damage for 4 seconds after casting Destructive Cleanse. So if you are spamming it, you got a high spell damage bonus there. Reduce the cost reduction granted towards Destructive Touch to 10% from 30, so that's a bit of a drop. And this set now has a perfected version giving you extra spell damage. If you're using Destructive Clench, most people would use it on the front bar anyway, because you would essentially be using it as either a dot or a spammable, depending on which way you were using it. So this extra spell damage might actually benefit you overall. If it's on the back bar, it'll give you a little tiny bit while you're there. Front bar, this is probably where you would want to put it. That is friggin' crazy. 600 spell damage is a big increase, but the reduction to cost is nice, but since it's a big drop from it, you might have to watch out on your sustain to be able to use that every 4 seconds. It's also after it for 4 seconds as well, which is weird. Just spent the last couple of hours making my healer on PTS while listening to your stream. Thank you for letting me know. So sick to see you at 1K viewers. Thank you very much. How you doing? Welcome to the stream. I'm trying to not be too stressed because there's a lot of stuff going on, but we're getting there. Puncture Remedy increases the healing granted by this set to 6130 from 2500. Wow, okay. Increase the duration of the armor bonus to 5 seconds up from 3. And the armor granted from this set is now incorporate over healing into its calculation, ensuring it will always grant the benefit when endangered with. This is going to be explained in just a second. This now has a perfected version, which gives you 3% healing taken or healing received. So, that is on the Malcolm build. Put that in the chat if you haven't seen it before. Basically what it does is when you taunt the target, you get a resistance buff. And you basically get a heal, but you'll get a resistance equivalent to the heal. And the healing done on top of it and the healing received can heighten that. The strength of it will give you that in resist. This only applied if you actually got healed. So if you had full health, wouldn't count. It would only count if you were under 100%. So getting that resistance buff is good, but sometimes a little tricky. Now it considers overheal. So if you're at 100% all the time, and you get this heal, it still counts and still gives you the resistances. So you plug that gap basically indefinitely. And the duration is up, so you don't have to spam it so often. This is a rather substantial buff to this set. The only build I have on my channel with this set on it is the Malcolm build, the Necro tank. And yeah, that just got buffed. So some stat changes, if that goes live, would have to be considered to cover for the massive resistance bonus versus what we already get. That's actually pretty good. Stinging Slashes. I'm losing my voice so bad. That's better. This set now increases any instance of damage done with Twin Slashes by 2102, rather than only increasing the bleed damage. Wow! Oh, man. Well, thank you very much indeed. Hugely appreciate Bit and Cake in the chat. 5 gifted subs to the stream. A total of 216 overall. Bit and Cake in the chat. You know the rules, people. We have a new Dragonborn. The fight starts again from scratch. If you kill that Dragonborn, you'll take his place. The stream will have to kill you instead. Thank you very much. Right. So, basically, this set now increases any instance of damage with Twin Slashes by 2102 rather than only increasing the bleed damage by 1600. So that should include the initial hit. So that's a substantial buff as well. And you get 666 weapon crit for having it on your bar. If you're dual wield, you would most likely... So I'm very careful how I say that because you might not. Wait! Oh my god, thank you very much indeed. Hugely appreciate Bit and Cake in the chat. 5 gifted subs to the stream. 25, sorry. Is it 23 or 25? 23 in total. Almost killed the fucking Dragonborn with that. Bit and Cake in the chat. Make sure you say thank you to the gifters and show off those Ninja Cake emotes. So Dragonborn is making again. Oh man. So basically, most of the time you are likely to have the dual wheel on the front bar. I say most because not everyone's the same. I'm never going to get this out. Oh, you just give me a chance to get a drink, catch a breath. Thank you very much, Claw. 221 in total. 5 more gifted subs to the stream. Dead Dragonborn, you know the rules. Come on.
Dragonborn.
Spam it. You know what to do. You don't need the script. You've heard me speaking for the last 3 hours and 20 minutes anyway. Had drops enabled. They normally show you at the bottom of the screen, and it usually says in the title as well, which would confirm either way. You should be able to see it. Scroll down underneath the picture. Should say drops. But yes, they are supposed to be active right now. Dual wheeled, front bar, bonus to crit, win-win. We got there. Thank you very much for the bits. Who's back? Oh shit, it's DJ's birthday right now. Bit and Cake in the chat. He has crossed over to midnight, so Bit and Cake for the person I just linked in the chat. It is now his birthday. Happy birthday, DJ. Congratulations indeed. A one-hand easy sort player. How fucking cool is that? Volrath, thank you very much for the subs. Hugely appreciated, of course. Beer and Cake in that chat. Oh, man. Take a breath. Volrath, 43 to the channel. New Dragonborn, thank you very much.
Dragonborn.
Oh, man. No, you're fucking kidding me. Oh, wow. Well, that was worth the 3 hours of sweating. Thank you very, very much. Hugely appreciated. You'll all have a limited time to earn exclusive emotes. The hype train has somehow been activated. Thank you very much for those gifted subs. We are going to press it again because we've got another Dragonborn. Let's do it.
Dragonborn.
You get sick of it. Oh my word. You know the rules, people. The fight starts again from scratch. If you kill that Dragonborn, you'll take its place to stream. I have to kill you instead. Odinson as well. Thank you very much for those gifted subs. Much appreciated. Beer and Cake, people. Oh my god. The hype train has started. You're 1% in. You got 4 minutes to get to the next level. Enjoy. So, thank you for the follows as well. Now, where are we? My face has stopped. Titan Cleave. Now we know this one because we use it on the Cleave build. Holy fuck, I just saw that. Ha! Oh man. Tower Dweller and DJ at the same time. Holy shit. Thank you for the bits. Thank you for the gifted subs. Thank you for deafening me because I can't hear a fucking thing now. We have killed a Dragonborn again. 10 gifted subs in the chat from 2 different people, 5 apiece. Make sure you say thank you. Make sure you throw out those Ninja Cake emotes. Holy fuck. Claw, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Holy shit.
Holy shit indeed. 99% into the health. I can't even fucking do words. Someone do words for me. Thank you for the bits. Thank you for the gifted subs. He's up to 200 and something. 231. Jesus Christ. Hype train, level 1 complete. Next level is started. I don't know how long you've got. Level 3 was completed with that. That's fucking insane. Did Izzy get a sub yet? I have no idea. Tell her to throw beer and cake in the chat. She did. She did. She got one off Claw. We got Dragonborn. Enjoy.
Dragonborn.
You know the rules, people. The fight starts again from not very much scratch because they're almost dead. Thank you very much. So many gifted subs. Very cool. Again? Shit. Volrath. Tut tut. Thank you very... Oh my god, it's still going. You guys are fucking insane. No. You have a great community, guy. What the actual fuck? You guys are fucking mad. You'll never finish. I know, I can't even get to the fucking two-hander. Thank you for the bits. Thank you for the gifted subs. If you haven't got a sub already, I don't know what's going on. You should have. Throw out the beer and cake emotes. Go nuts. Say happy birthday to DJ. Say thank you to all the other people. Hype train level 4. 69% in. Let's read Titanic Cleave. Fuck, we've got a dragon one as well. Let's just press fight.
Fight.
There you go. Oh my god. Taking a short break from patch notes. Gifted subs. I know, right? Up to fucking 910. It isn't even showing yet. 69% into the hype train level. You got 3 minutes left. Happy birthday, DJ. Two-hander. Cleave build. Let's go. Increase the stack and damage, but oh my god. Increase the stack and bonage. The bonage? Oh, I'm such a child. Stacking bonage. That's a fucking party you don't want to be invited to. Increase the stack and bonus of this set to 1550 up from 1500. So that got buffed. Thank you for the bits. Increase the target cap to 24.
I love winnings. Drinks all around.
20 fucking 4. You broke Zai? RJ Combo, I know you. That's Rob. Rob Garrett, how you doing? Mr. Zoss over there. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for the gifted sub, by the way. So, AoE has certain caps, right? The reason that certain things are capped is obviously to stop making things break. Some AoEs and some dots and stuff don't have a cap at all. Other stuff, especially if they apply a debuff or something like that, kind of stack at 6, and that's it. The Cleave ability itself did follow the rules of this. So the weapon itself followed the same rules as debuff. So if you hit something with Alkosh, it's 6 targets. If you hit something with Noxus Breath, that's 6 targets. If you hit someone with Titanic Cleave from the weapon, that was 6 targets. You could hit more targets, but you couldn't increase the damage output by more than 6. So this bonus here, this 1550, is on top of the damage you do from Brawler or Carve. That can stack up to 6 times, which ended up with about a 9k bonus. Now it can stack up to 24 fucking times. So Cleave, as a build, if this goes live, just got buffed to fuck the more targets you have. That is insane. This was the reaction I was waiting for. Dude, thank you very much. That is mad. We'll closely monitor how frequently this allows utter devastation in large groups, and we'll address it appropriately so it's similar in functionality to proximity detonation. The setup perfected now has an increased pen bonus. So that just got buffed to crap. Cleave basically just went mental because that's just stupid. That's a lot of extra damage. That was already getting anywhere up as high as like 75k plus on individual hits, like per hit. That's mad. And it's also going to take points at your champion points as far as the physical penetration is concerned. The way this is going with all the physical pen and spelled pen that is easy to acquire now, based on this kind of standardization of things and optimization with certain sets, it looks like the penetration champion points eventually are going to be worth fuck all. Maybe they could just dump them. Mega stream, loving it. Thank you very much. And they're already out of hand with the opposition in 24 targets and melee attacks. Well, the thing is, it can still hit 24, but the buff doesn't stack any more than 6. That is mad. So, I mean, it is what it is. We'll test it and see what it does. Cruel Flurry. Don't break it. Don't break it. This is one of my favorite sets. I use it on my main and have done for like 3-4 years. Increase the weapon and spell damage granted from this set to 1690 from 1000. This set now has a perfected one which grants increased weapon damage. Toxicity, if it goes live, will be buffed. Yes. Hype train is complete. Nice. Thank you very, very much. You got some emotes, people. Choo-choo in the chat. Throw out those emotes. If you got a gifted sub or even gave them away, you will have those emotes there. Go nuts. If you got bits of stuff as well, you'll get some more. I don't see enough people using it. Where's the emotes? Go, go, go. Crushing Wall. Wall of Elements. Use. Increase the damage of this set from 1353 up from 1341. So, the basic one that you already have from VMA has actually just got buffed. This set now has a perfected version, which increases Spell Pen. Remember, that only applies on the bar you are on. This carries over. This does not. Do you take advantage of that bonus and just let it sit there while you're on your back bar? Or do you move the weapon to the front and dump your champion points in Spell Pen? Those are the small options that you may or may not want to take advantage of. And now that we can see what the intention is, it's not that bad, is it? Trophy, thank you very much. Oh yeah, hugely appreciate, of course, Bit and Cake in the chat. Thank you very much indeed. Now, if you look at this as a bonus, you know that Spell Pen's very easy to reach as a magical DPS anyway. So, is the perfected version really that much better? And is it really worth screaming about? You might still want to keep what you've already got because this is the bonus you're receiving. And this might not even benefit you in any way, shape or form, depending on your group anyway. So, it can be a big buff if you utilize it. But if not, and you've already got that stuff covered, you won't even notice. Master's Charge, increase the damage done. This good because this damage was shit. Increase the damage done by this set to 10k over its duration, up from 7.2. That needed a buff a long time ago. Damage done is now once again labeled as a bleed. Good. This set now has a perfected version, which is 1190 physical penetration. That one is probably going to be more useful than that one, but again, it depends on your build. So stay with the normal one. Pretty much. Who knew, right? I tell people not to lose their shit. It could still change though. You never know. You're going to kill my phone. 15% battery left. I'm going really fast and trying. Precise regeneration. So the resto staff. We all know we've had an abundance of these in VMA. How many of you deleted them and now regret it? Probably not that many. Decrease the magicka granted to 500 from 800. Remove the cooldown of the set. Though note it cannot proc from event of simultaneous crit heals from radiant regeneration. So you can basically constantly get the crit bonus and constantly get this recovery, which is fucking stupid. But two people getting this kind of crit at the same time won't give you 2 stacks. It's individual. If they both go at the same time, they won't. This set now has a perfected version, which increases spell crit. That, if you're using it on your front bar, could potentially be a bit of a buff. In fact, this is a bit of a buff anyway, based on the condition of it. That depends on where you put it. Most people lost their crap because of the principle. Yeah, there's no principle other than they were pissed that other people get stuff that they already got. But the people that they're complaining about not worthy of having it, they don't play with anyway, so it's none of their business. Not because they thought it would be one piece, because yeah, they did. They wanted the perfected version. That was what they were pissed about. They were like, change our shit or else. Not dismissing someone's complaints is rude. I'm not sure what you mean by that. The principle was wrong, full stop. The point that people were making is, I want upgraded, perfected, or else because I earned it. You didn't. You earned the regular version. Not sorry. It doesn't look like it's going to make a fucking difference. People did scream, we want perfected, it's not fair, ours isn't upgraded because we put in the work. That is what you're seeing on the forums. Complain that someone else might have something nice that you worked for when it's a solo instance anyway.
I love winnings. Drinks all around.
It's none of my business if someone else gets something that I worked for and they work less for. I don't care. If over 4 years, let's say a power creep kicked in and it was much, much easier to do VMA than when I first did it, which it is, should I be mad that people now have an easier time than I did? I don't give a shit. I got what I needed. I'm happy with it. Someone else gets what they need. They're happy with it. Doesn't affect me anyway. There's nothing saying that the weapon is going to make someone a better player. But if you want the perfected one, you got tiny bonus. Follow me? It's called backpedaling. What happens is people complain that they're not getting a perfected one. Then when they see that it's not that much of a bonus or they might not benefit from it anyway, they then go, yeah, well, it's a principle. There's no principle on shitting on someone else for getting something. It doesn't concern or even affect you that someone else is getting something when you're already happy with what you have. If you're not playing with this person over here and you're in this corner with your friends and they get something for themselves, who cares? Even transportation made getting in VMA weapon 1,000 times easier. Very true. That's a valid point. How many people in the past worked their ass off for an infused flame staff or a sharpened flame staff and gone into Maelstrom countless fucking times over and over and over for fucking a couple of years, and then they gave us a trait change system and someone could just get it once and go like that and get it done? By that logic that people are applying now, surely when that came out, everyone should have got a free trait change for all their weapons that they worked really hard for. No, things change. Simple as that. You're not losing anything. You still keep your stuff. But if you want to, and let's face it, most people that have the stuff they need can probably do it with their eyes closed. They can have a slight extra bonus. And the funny thing is, this is the one weapon that people are complaining about. No one's complaining about anything else. So that's as one-sided as it can get. Your opinions are what they are. Have what you like. But most of them are not really opinions. They're just crying that they don't think it's fair. Why is it not fair? You've still got your stuff. And by the logic of we should have what we worked for, you are keeping this. That is what you worked for. For those people that did get perfected stuff in Asylum Sanctorum, for example, like this perfected version, which is the stronger one than the normal one, you do now get buffed. Your weapon you earned is getting buffed. So one of your weapons is being increased, and rightly so. The other one is moving locations, but they're adding an extra item. You can't have it both ways. People literally are finding excuses to complain about it rather than just trying to understand what their whole intention is. And the implementation of it, or how it's coded as well, can be also a little difficult. So you're not losing anything eventually. Perfectly fair. I just don't want to spend time refarming it. If you don't want to spend time refarming it, and that is your explanation for being pissed, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. Do you think I want to farm it on 6 fucking servers? I'm still gonna, but yeah, it is what it is. First 12 times I did VMA a while back. I got Resto 12 times. Dude, I'm fucking with you. I got like 7 or 8, I think. Fake Asylum got nerfed, not buffed. No, I got fixed. And then you got an extra stat. You got an extra 103 spell damage if you have it on the front bar. Now I want to try out normal Maelstrom. Now I can get more Xyde builds faster, and I can do more vet content win-win. Only if you know what you're doing. Remember, the weapon doesn't make the player. When people use words like plebs, it's clear they are not concerned with the actual weapon. Anyway, it is what it is. It's not even fucking live yet, so it might not even come through. I like everything both ways. Please fix. Shit. The krill is in. I'm in trouble. I think one of the reasons people are annoyed is because of the RNG thing. People worked hard to get their weapons, but now it feels as if their efforts are meaningless. That's exactly the example I used a moment ago with the trait changes. I just said very clearly that people farmed it for months and months to get the perfect trait they wanted, and then trait changes come in. Shouldn't they have complained then that other people can get what they want first time? Things change. Simple as that. I did my first VMA run at like 300 CPs when it first came in. It was fucking AIDS. It didn't even have the whole save the game stuff. You used to go in, and if you leave, you're fucked. Resets. That is no longer a thing. It hasn't been for a long time. Sometimes, when things come out to start with, they are harder than they are later. If you were there in the first time, you have now that memory of when it was harder, and you can go, well, I remember when it was this, and I did it. That's your achievement. When it comes to now, and other people are where you are, it's just one of those things that stuff changes. At the end of the day, we're benefiting from this, not losing. Let's just agree, one thing. Fuck Jeff. Yeah, indeed. Jeff's a bastard. His dual wheel stamps up, might have to try it, use cleave now. We'll see if it comes through. It might not. It might be too broken. It might be too fucking strong. Grizz, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. We're almost there. We're nearly done with the notes. We've been going for 3 hours and 35 minutes. Jeff is your friend, you sadistic fuck. I remember when group dungeons were hard. Jet, I'm with you there. On normal, yes. We're going to sidetrack slightly. Normal dungeons, so we're going to go with some of the classics, right? Blackheart Haven. We'll use that one as an example. Blackheart Haven was one of the hardest fucking dungeons, and it was only on normal because the last boss would literally cripple your fucking groups. Back in the day. When it comes to vet dungeons, City of Ash, even Crypt of Hearts, some of those were absolute aids. Banished Cells 2, which is still tricky for some, that used to be one of the hardest ones. If you go in there at Vet 1, you won't get past Boss 3, let alone the last one. It was crazy. The game has changed. And it has to. Over time, we will obviously get better as players. We'll get more experience. We'll have better gear. We'll have better stats. We'll blast through stuff. So for us, it's great. But for other people that are then coming in, what do? It's difficult to balance everything over time, especially as an MMO, because it will constantly progress. You'll never keep everybody happy if you don't constantly change stuff. But then you run the risk of pissing people off because they feel validated that they shouldn't complain, that they tried really hard to get something, and now it's easier for somebody else. It just is what it is. Direfrost last boss was unkillable. Dude, it's still fucking unkillable for some. City of Ash was a bitch. 3 pads up. Yeah, it was. You knew you was there when you did Vet City of Ash. Yes. The Titan, now you can just nuke the fuck out of it. 35%, 65%, those 2 health checks, it goes down to 10% damage or nothing. Now you can just pretty much burn through it anyway. The ads aren't a problem. There were very few tanks when that was first out that could actually tank, standing still, those spinning Atros. Still end up in pugs that cannot finish Direfrost. Yep, even on live stream, dude, people don't know how to break free. They're in PvP, breaking free, dodge rolling, keeping an eye on cooldowns for CCs and all that kind of stuff. They get into Vet Direfrost. Here's a stun mechanic. What do? Happens. It's how you pave the way for newer players, in my opinion. Yep, if you, and this is another argument as well. People complain that apparently the end game community is dying. No, it's not. There's a lot of people complaining it to make it sound bad. If you want something to grow, you need to give it room to grow. You need to add to it. Teach the newer players to be as good as you, and that will grow. Simple as that. Or push them out of content, tell them they're not good enough, don't let them have stuff, and then your tiny little group will get smaller and smaller and smaller as your friends get bored, and you'll be the last one standing. Teach people how to get to your standard, and that size of that content kind of collectively will get done more often. Banish 2 was horrible unless you use the Evil Hunter glitch. Oh, fuck yeah, I remember that. Oh, man. You could do some stupid damage with that. Love Tank Investigative Ash. Let him read more. I'm nearly done, actually. City of Ash 2, where you first discovered Mega Jeff was a prat. Fuck Mega Jeff. He was awful. You used to have to kite him. Right. We've got a couple more left, and we're nearly there. Sword and Board. Decrease the Magicka and Stamina restore from this set to 1904, down from 2000. Meh, that's a bit shit anyway. This set now has a perfected version that gives you 77 Magicka and Stam recovery. That's not too bad. As far as tanking goes, you might want to use one or the other. Maybe your Sword and Board is down, you're not blocking. Recovery will be okay. Mag recovery is not massive. They might want to boost that a little bit, maybe 100 or so. This bit, I think they should change the set because I don't think that bonus is being used enough. This perfected version, I think, should be about 100, 102, 103. This, I think, needs a rework. So, I'm not mad about it. It's a plus, but it's not good enough right now. Like when you try to teach them to be better than me. Do that. Zai is making an awful lot of good sense, I'm worried. I'm not allowed to make sense. I get told off for that. Apparently I'm toxic if I make sense. How dare I not conform to screaming out loud with no sense whatsoever. Pretty nice patch overall. I think the BS and TK changes are badly needed. Yeah, definitely. They have been overshadowing other monster sets in PvP for ages. They have. That's very true. Zan has as well. It's fucking nuts. This set now increases the damage done to your volley by 340 and increases per tick by 143, up from 320 and increasing 110 per tick. So this got buffed. Your Maelstrom bow that you already have got buffed. That's a win. Now, this set now stacks up to a maximum of 8 times rather than continuously stacking. That is a little tricky. That encourages you to use the arrow barrage rather than endless hail. So I'm using arrow barrage anyway, so it doesn't really affect me. Other people will still benefit from the skill, but the bonus on top will not stack continuously after the 8 ticks fall off. So that's a bit of a middle finger at the same time as a bit of a thumbs up, depending on the bonus, depending on the morph you take, because arrow barrage is actually 8 seconds with a 2-second wind up. Give it 10 overall. And you got a crit bonus. Again, this is not a game changer. Unless you're using a Maelstrom bow on your front bar, you're not going to get the crit bonus. You will benefit from it on the back, but it's a small gap filler of a very small percentage just while you're there. So this has a chance to very, very slightly increase your overall DPS with that crit bonus, because you might crit, you might not, while you're there for a small time. If you do, you'll see increased numbers. If you don't, it'll be the same. So that's a flip of a coin stat, unless you keep it on the same bar all the time, which most people don't. This, however, is a welcome buff. Thank you very much. Traits. Reduce the armor trait impen to 172 down from 258. We knew that was coming because it's too fucking strong anyway, and there aren't enough choices out there. Wrong. Said that wrong. There are enough choices out there. There aren't enough choices being made because it's so powerful. Fix an issue where pets could not inherit the bloodthirsty or charged traits. That just buff pets. Good stuff. Breathtaking your ale. I've got some more. How many people do we need to get in a fight for the dragon instead of Jeff? Like 200. Okay, we've got some more stuff. PvP. Added extra measures to prevent Volendrung from being held longer than intended or being interacted with while dying or moving. This fix should also help improve interaction with the Chaos Ball or relics and battlegrounds and game modes. Good. Might even try a VMA dual wield now. Gonna have to change my arrow barrage on bow. Dude, if you're not trying a VMA dual wield already, check this out. Use that build. Or don't necessarily use it. You're PTS. Give it a go. See if you like it. Art and animation we're not going to go too much into. That's visuals and shit. Grass will now fade when a wall being loaded. Crafting economy. We want to go into the combat stuff. There wasn't a lot, actually. I mean, most of that actually comes into play with the weapons and balance changes, so we're pretty much gone over, I think. Dungeons and group content. Banished Tales 2. You will no longer be awarded credit for the Survivor achievement when the group member perishes. Naughty. Blitz Crucible. The quest pin for the Scroll of Glorious Battle is now correctly located over the scroll. Grunt Cleaver. The Grunt Cleaver Obliterate ability will now knock back all players by damaged by it, because it normally pings back 1. Troll King's Ground Slam and Leap abilities now have the correct effect icons. It's at a question mark, which is weird. Ground Slam ability now has a telegraph for the radial damage line, so you can actually see where it is rather than just guessing and seeing dust. Dude, give it a try. No worries, dude. That's my main character, by the way. Dragonstar Arena. Ardent Flame Ravages Flames of Oblivion ability no longer displays duplicate effect icons. Ice Centurion will no longer display Enerous effect icons. These are all bugs with visuals to buff and debuff icons by the looks of it. So some of them had a red question mark, which is weird. Elden Hollow Ancient Remains now update correctly as a quest. Arthurian Archive, Frost and Shock Traps now have their correct player effect icons. Celebrations and events, we're not going to go over those because they are still yet to come. Itemization and exploration. Bug fixes. Housing we can't really go into because we can't see anything. There are some bug fixes for some of them though, so let me put this in the chat because that's glazing over stuff that we can't really see, and it's not going to affect necessarily everyone, but I've done it with 2 exclamation points. Someone put that into just 1 exclamation point, please. These may or may not apply to everyone. There's so many fucking hundreds of thousands of items. It could be something you do see every day or something you never see. Okay. Rare Crash and Cyrodiil, where the periodic it's late. It's fucking late. Periodic unloading of the unused animations happen. Fix several very rare client crashes that could occur randomly. Optimize the login screen to reduce CPU usage. Fix the crash that would occur after activating block while standing from a chair. Why? It's fixed. Whatever. Activity Finder. Made additional improvements to this tool, including addressing several edge cases that occurred when queued, players logged off or disconnected, and some ready check display issues. We've all seen those. Good fix. Fair enough. I was worried about patch notes, but they seem they don't use Stonekeeper or Bloodspawn anyway, mainly Lord Warden, so they're all fine with me. Well, the thing is, some of the stuff that got nuked isn't really that bad, and even if it is, we'll test it anyway to see how bad it actually is. But we'll see. I mean, again, it's only the first week. There's going to be like 4 or 5 weeks worth of testing anyway, so things could change drastically. You never know. Twitch bot view detection. What the fuck is that? Weird. You could just look at the top of the screen, I'll tell you. Flame Metro, Monster Ability. What's this from? Monsters and NPCs. This is Overworld stuff, isn't it? Or Overland. We'll leave that for now. Or is it? No, that is. Is this dungeons and shit? It is still in dungeons. Spider Daedra web now ends properly when the effect is dispelled by negate magic. I'm still pissed that Jeff can't be nuked with negate magic. They dodged that one a while back. Didn't put Alliance tokens on patch note. They didn't. Damn, they're fixing the feature that Doom was trolled with on stream. I know, right? That's funny. Quests and zones. I won't go over those. You can read through those in your own time because they are subjective to very few people that may be stuck on them. A lot of people have done them. A lot of people haven't. So if you are stuck on any particulars, they are there. UI. You will now receive the correct error message when losing an internet connection. Well, like, you don't have an internet connection, and you know you do. Good one. Add additional messages to active in-game events so it's clear when the event is active and how much time is left. Adjusted the position to the go-to entrance button in the house purchase screen to avoid collisions with zone names. Fix an issue where some supported text characters would not display correctly in Japanese game client. They're going all out. This one is a pain in the ass sometimes. Fix multiple UI errors that could occur while using automatic setting for the gamepad mode and swap directly between gamepad and keyboard menus. That is when you actually just use the keyboard while you're using the control pad. They can fuck up. Have Alliance token on PTS. Interesting. No comment. Fix an issue where going to the menu directly from an outfit station would not warn you about losing your changes. Fix the UI error that could occur when leaving an outfit station. Fix Russian language option to guild finder. They haven't done the guild search thing yet. Fix an issue where they selected guild in the guild store screen would sometimes change about your input. See, the only thing I really want about the guilds changes or the guild search tool is to be able to have a section where you can say I want to search for Bob's Buckets or whatever the fuck you're looking for, whatever guild, and just put the name in and find it. Because you may know a guild you want to join, you may know its name. And instead of going through all the stupid tick boxes, which is fine if you're searching randomly, just browsing, you should be able to pinpoint which one you're looking for. Why doesn't that exist in game already? I have no idea. Maybe it's just one of those things that is gradually going to land over time, because there's only so much they can add at once. While it's a very unique MMO, it does still follow some MMO rules that you would normally see in other stuff. But because everything has been put bit by bit by bit, if they put too much at once, it would just cluster fucking collapse. Especially since we're doing performance updates at the moment with loads of other stuff. So I know probably why they've held back on it, but it's taken a bit of time. I hope they bring it in soon, or full stop. It would be great. Yeah, it would. So we are fucking there. I do not think I'm gonna have time to go on to PTS this evening, because this is long. This took me 4 hours to fucking read, and I normally leave stream by now. So I might have to do one of these tomorrow. I might have to do... We've got a stream takeover tomorrow. So we'll see. Maybe we do an early one. Maybe do a PTS early in the evening first. You think that would be pretty basic function to be able to find a guild you want to join? Well,
I love winning.
it's basic
Drinks
on
all
the
around.
surface. Implementing it is a different story entirely. Fufu87, thank you very much. Thanks for a good explanation, Patch Dude. You are most welcome. Can't join Carl's Dempster's guild because I can't find it in the guild finder. Yeah, you got to be very specific about how you look for it. Want to be able to trade transmute crystals? Yeah, me too. I want to be able to stack them past 200. The cap on that is fucking stupid. How many people have been in PvP forever and got literally bags and bags and bags on their characters of boxes they won't open because they'll disappear, but you're already at cap? Start a new character on PTS if you go. Peeps, it's really cool where you start from. Yes, it is. Happy they are finally fixing the brace impact issues on ICP. Yeah, that was a very short-term bug. It got worse, but it's being fixed. Being cake in the chat for the maestro. Honestly, the PTS has been resetting like every 10 minutes, so probably a good time to not show it. That's a good point, actually, because there are obviously going to be abundance of people online due to the lockdown, so the server's going to be fucking flooded. It usually is day one anyway. My intention was to go on the PTS, but honestly, the patch notes have taken so fucking long. It's now 2 AM. I'm going to still go on there, but I won't be able to stream. I'm going to wake everybody up. So, wish you could buy the foam... Sorry, I read that so wrong. I read that as I wish you could buy the foam undaunted. Like one of those big fingers up fucking pointer hand things. Just by name though. What happened? Sure, but you'd think searching a database by name is something you'd have from day one. This is the thing. From day one, it's been a very different MMO. They deliberately didn't implement the same stuff as everybody else to make it very unique. And over time, they're implementing stuff that they didn't necessarily consider was going to be in there, but now they've decided are going to be in there. I also noticed nothing was said about fixing the cheese for SCP Matriarch fight. Only one thing at a time. They can't do it all. They have to prioritize what bugs they put at the top of the list, what ones they put at the middle, and what ones they put at the bottom. On some people's hierarchy, it may be different to others, but as a company, they have to decide, or developers, they have to decide which ones are more important for each update. So, never say never. I mean, at the end of the day, we've got a few more weeks left. We could still see some more additions. We could see some alterations. And then in updates to come, you might see all of that stuff all at once. You never know. Overall, looks pretty good. There are some things that I'm a little bit about, but we'll see. Overall, it actually looks quite nice. Especially the arena stuff with some of the changes to the weapons, some of the boosts to the weapons, some of the drops to some of the other stuff, and the addition to some of the perfected bits and pieces. They're not game-breaking by the looks of it. Some will have more benefits than others, but that remains to be seen. Maybe they'll swap stuff out. Or the cheese and matcha sacrifices. Yeah, that too. We will do PTS this week. I was going to do it today, but we went way over. Usually the reading takes about an hour and a half, 2 hours. It took 4. So I am getting off stream. So, first of all, thank you all very, very much for watching. I hugely appreciate support. If you are not subscribed on YouTube or following on Twitch, please do hit those buttons. They are free. Furthermore, if you want to help support outside the channel, there are some links in the info section for Patreon, Twitter, Facebook, the website xynodegaming.com, and loads of other stuff as well. I've forgotten. Gives me a reason to go back into VDSA. Yeah, it does. You will see stuff this week. Don't panic. Especially if you're on Patreon in the Secret Ninjas perk as well. You will see kind of stream stuff on Discord of me testing stuff out. But as far as the actual live stream is concerned, I'll be back tomorrow.
I love winning.
Once again,
Drinks
thank you
all
very much for
around.
watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.
I love winnings. Drinks all around.
Motherfucker, brothers on the rise now. Endless celebrations all in my house. Levitating now, I'm super duper fly now. London boy, but DC where I reside now. Put the time in while you always yelling time out. And for quit it, cause I know I'm coming with it. You were sitting, you were wishing I was handling my business. Now I got the ball like Harry Potter playing Quidditch. And my business so humongous, you would think that happens in there. Oh man, I'm all that, yeah, I'm all that. Looking for that whip, yeah, that what you call that. I'ma blow up in the summer, have them yelling fall back. And I've always been ahead like an effing ball cap. Man, I came in the game like, whoa. Got a couple chains on me cause I like gold. They told me I'm the best and I told them I know. Cause when I'm in your town, every ticket I sold. Yeah, they saying I'm the man. Facts, bro. Lot of haters, tell me where they at though. I'm the new pop, all I do is rap though. Want me on your song, throw a couple stacks, yo. Woo! Everybody wanna do the same thing. Yup, that's why we ain't on the same page. Do my own thing, and I maintain. Flow like water, so I'm going mainstream. I'm going